Yo, 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 everybody. Here we are, the beautiful Suzuka Twin Circuit. This is G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan. We are in Mie Prefecture. It is a beautiful and overcast day as we are on board here with our drone shot that will be accompanying us for all of qualifying and the remainder of competition tomorrow. I am Ryan Sage along with judge and commentator. Oh, let's get in here. There we go.
Yeah.
They didn't want to size us up. Judge and commentator Ryan Lantain. Ryan, we've got 46 drivers competing for 32 spots here on Friday. For fans that have followed the Formula Drift Japan Championship, they know that this is always round one. It's a really cool course. While we wait for cars to get to the line, why don't you give us a quick breakdown of the course layout, some of the judging stuff that you guys talked about in the drivers' meeting?
Yeah, so this track gives us 4 scored areas. Outside zone 1 is on the wall. It's right at initiation, essentially, so the drivers need to throw the car, get close to that wall as possible. There is a box on the ground there, a hashed box. From there, they go to outside zone 2. Outside zone 2 is a very important piece of this track. It's one of the most difficult areas to achieve on the track, and it's one that has claimed a few cars in practice prior to qualifying. As drivers are throwing the car in really hard, they're trying to fill outside zone 2, and they end up overshooting and going into the tire wall. From there, the drivers are to be on throttle around that corner towards in clip 1, and then they transition and hit in clip 2 before finishing wide on driver's left at the finish line there. We were telling the drivers in the drivers meeting to be as committed on throttle as possible up to initiation, and then beyond initiation as well, being committed to the throttle. This is a track that doesn't really have any decel areas other than a slight one at initiation, but for the most part the drivers will be at the very minimum maintaining pace, but for the most part being on throttle and being aggressive throughout this entire run. And I told them in the meeting, there are 46 of you right now vying for 32 spots. We're going to be asking for a lot from you guys because, well, we have a lot of choice here. We can be very picky with our qualifying scores, and I know Andy is one of the most strict, let's say, in terms of style, and he's the style judge today. So the drivers are going to have their challenges ahead of them, let's say. It's not going to be easy to get this run that they need to do in qualifying just right, because of outside zone 2.
Yeah, and we've seen a few cars sacrificed, at least apparently in the practice leading up to qualifying. I do love the way that this course is set up. My favorite part of the track is the initiation, and partly that's by nature of the track, but it's also partly from what you guys have instituted working with Kevin Wells, our competition director, about having a run-up that forces drivers to basically go full throttle into initiation.
Yep.
And a lot of guys that have these really swooping initiations that point right towards that wall, really a high degree of risk if executed properly, and a high degree of risk if not executed properly, you go into the wall. And so we've seen a little bit of that over the years here, but it's a very smoky course. We do have the wind blowing away from us, which is nice, which should keep the smoke out, but we have the assistance of the drone from above that should give us some deeper insight from that perspective, along with all the original camera shots that we do have. And Ryan, you'll be doing double duty once again. This is a little bit different setup than FD US, where you're primarily judging and chime in on results that you make and that the judges make. In this case, you're going to be judging and commenting at the same time. So
Yep.
You're playing the role of me, kind of.
Yes.
And I'm Jared.
You're right.
Yes.
Woo! Much better looking Jared.
Oh.
Sorry, Jared. It's a little bit different here, but I've had people ask me, how do you balance both, and is it something that you think is beneficial for you, or
yes,
do you think
you can compartmentalize your brain like that?
Is it detrimental to the judging that you do? And prior to actually assisting with the announcing, I used to write a lot of notes, and I felt that I needed to do that to be able to put my thoughts together. And what I have found with announcing is that by verbalizing it, it's actually better than writing it down.
You're like encoding it. You're encoding it into your brain by verbalizing it.
That is an excellent way to put it. It actually cements things for me a lot more firmly, and I think that I'm more accurate this way, and I think I'm able to give a good idea of what's going on in at least my head, but probably the majority of the judges for the most of the time, what they're thinking, what they're looking at on the track. So I think from the perspective of the benefit for the fans who are listening, as well as myself, it seems to be a big positive.
Yeah, and you get it very unfiltered, right? It's the first thing that comes to your mind. You're talking about it as you're seeing it on the replay. You know, for some of the hardcore fans of FD Japan and also for the U.S. Series that are interested in some of the differences between the U.S. Series and the Japan Series, they basically run off of a very similar rule book. The safety constraints are very similar from FD USA to FD Japan. One of the noticeable differences is that the tire rules here are a little bit different. In fact, that they're not as stringent, and partly that's has to do with the way that the government bodies regulate tires here. So we do see lots of different tires per round. And you have to imagine that that has an impact on grip levels and how drivers perform. But we also see a lot of really cool, interesting builds. One in particular from a driver that's done very, very well in the series, Suzuka, has brought out the wide-body Audi A5. I watched a couple runs. It's the first time I've seen a car that's a DTM-style type car come out and compete in drifting in that way. What was your initial impression of that for those that haven't seen it?
It's a pretty wild build. We were looking at it yesterday while it was being teched. They have a huge clamshell hood that comes off with the front fenders. The bumper actually stays attached to the car when you remove all of that. It's a GM LSX engine that's naturally aspirated. The headers that they needed to build for this thing, just to fit it under the hood between the frame rails, very elaborate. They actually come up above the engine, forward, and then curve below and underneath. They had to put dents in them just so that the front wheels could have the adequate turning radius, you know, the angle that they could achieve, and the tires still rub on them sometimes. So it seems like a mild compromise in a lot of ways, but also overbuilt in a lot of other ways. It was a street car prior to competing here at FD, prior to being built for this. So it was not a DTM car in the first place that they converted. It's really a car that was used as a street car, and then
whoa,
yeah, look at that.
Well, we're getting things underway here with Tomoki Tanaka in the JZX 100 Chaser, and starting off real strong, missing that second to last inside clip, but a huge initiation from the onset. We'll want to get your impressions here, Ryan, once we get back, but not often you see a guy come out very aggressive like that in the first run of qualifying, somebody that is not ranked that high, but we're seeing a lot of new drivers. Give us your impression of this first run.
Yeah, we've had a lot of practice, which has been really great for the drivers. They've been able to really get a lot of seat time here. We were commenting on it earlier today that the amount of laps these guys were getting, because of the linear flow of the track, they're able to just drive and drive and drive car after car after car. So we don't have the restraints here that we could or that we sometimes do at tracks in the U.S. So really made it, I think, beneficial for them, because they can go right from that practice session immediately into driving into this pretty aggressive lap that he's put together here.
Keeping it warm. So now waiting for the judges, including Ryan, to put in their scores. We've got 46 drivers here this weekend, which will be whittled down to 32 after today. Some of the championship contenders are back in the mix. The one noticeable face missing this year is Mad Mike Wadette, so he will be ceding his championship trophy to one of these 46 drivers. We've got Shinji Minawa, who is back. Also Andrew Gray, of course. Shang Nian, Koichi Yamashita is back. And a lot of the guys in the FD Japan series you may also remember, for you older folks, Katsuhiro Ueo in the S15, coming back for another season. And it looks like we've got an 8-0 here, an 80 for Tomoki Tanaka, kicking things off here in the first run of qualifying. What was he signaling to me for?
It's a good question. I think he's getting your driver's list all settled because it hasn't been fully updated. So now you have an updated list.
Thank you. All right, so an 80 for Tomoki Tanaka. And it looks like we're moving right on to Shoya Saito, car guy racing the S15. Heading out through the chicane, down the front straight, full acceleration into initiation. Snaps it right before that third standing cone. E-brake pull, now back on throttle. Just coming out of that zone a little bit early. Back around to that second hash mark on the first inside clip, and then wrapping through the second inside clip and through the finish line. A pretty simple layout here, but definitely can produce some really good tandem. Number 408, Shoya Saito. Ryan, give us your impression.
It is a simple layout, but it's a difficult layout. You look at that outside zone 1 is fairly simple along the wall, but the amount of commitment that they need to have coming to outside zone 2 really changes how you need to approach that outside zone 1. So what we'll sometimes get is a wall tap there that will really send them flying off the track, and it's one that is a little bit more challenging than it looks, at first blush.
One thing that I wanted to get some clarity on from you guys, and I think you mentioned this in the driver's meeting, but I just want to make sure. After initiation through outside zone number 1 into outside zone number 2, there seems to be drivers that are doing a little bit of a lift or an e-brake after initiation. What do you guys expect from outside zone 1 to 2?
Well, that's an area that you should be using the angle built into the car, like that you have put in the car at that point to slow down for outside zone 2. It's definitely not an area where you want to be grabbing handbrake.
Right.
And the style judge, like I said, pretty darn strict at this round, so he's going to have to be watching that, and I'm sure he's deducting points for people that are pulling e-brakes in those areas. Scores are in.
And if you guys are wondering, as we drop a 74 for Shoya Saito.
Yeah, so you can see 10 points off on style there from Andy. And the line judge, he was off in outside zone 2 considerably. That's a 15-point area for line outside zone 2, so it's a big one. It's one that you can't really sacrifice if you want a top score. You have to get your back tire in that box, and preferably all the way out to that outside line. At the very least, the back bumper should be on the outside line of that box for a full 15 points. But we give you the kind of a buffer there, so you can have the back bumper on the line all the way to the tire. As soon as the tire drops off, then that's when Robbie's going to start deducting points on the line side of things.
Shuichi Mano, our next driver up in the S13. Heading down the front straight. Nice snap into initiation. Big long e-brake pull. Big angle here. Might not make it. He has to pull a little bit out, so a bit of a mistake there. Second hash mark on that first inside clip. Nice wrap back around. Better on that second inside clip, but over-angled coming out of outside zone 1 into outside zone 2. Had to pull some out there, so car number 666. As we take a look at the replay, there was a pretty sizable mistake there, Ryan.
Yeah, so you can see the angle. That is what he probably should have maintained, but the car over-rotated there in outside zone 2. He didn't really get to full zero, but it looked like he went fairly straight.
The turn was definitely helping him, right? He could kind of
he was
lean
lucky
back
in that
into
sense.
it. And for those of you interested in how the system works here, we basically have Ryan operating a pen and paper system for his points, and then a computer that logs the scores. So we have a redundancy here, and also something for him to refer to. So he first writes his scores on the paper and then inputs it into the computer, and then that's what you guys see up on the monitor. The other judges do that as well. Similar system back in the States, except for it's more computer reliant. Just kind of punch it in, and then the judges take the notes as they see fit.
Just discussing the level of incomplete, or level of straightening there that would determine an incomplete or not from Mano. He did unwind the wheel quite a bit, but as I said in the meeting, it's not an incomplete if you almost go straight, or even if it's a very mild instance of a slight lack of angle like that, or a major lack of angle but not a full straight. It'd have to be a complete straight for us to give it an incomplete. So, of course, on the angle side of things, he's going to get deducted, and of course on the style side of things as well, he'll get deducted for that.
Yeah, you guys are very unfiltered in the drivers' meetings. You tell them pretty much verbatim, we expect perfection, right?
Yep.
And I think that's a good way to motivate the drivers to really go out there and push 100%. We know that perfection is going to be really hard to achieve, but we also know that these guys are extremely talented, and you want them to go out and not just make it into the top 32, but really give you the show that you're looking for.
Really earn that spot, you know. So you can see, as you watch the replay there, the wheels almost go straight, but the car really manages to keep a slight amount of angle in there. But it's going to be a deduction definitely from the angle and style judges.
So I see your guys' scores are in, so we're just waiting on the live stream folks here.
Yeah, the scores are all in now. See what happens here when it comes up on the screen.
So 55, 5-5 for Shuichi Mano, car 666. You'll definitely want to get rid of that.
Yes.
If you're just joining us here, we are at Suzuka Twin Circuit in Mie Prefecture. This is round 1 of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan. And car number 41 up next, Shinichi Yumura and the JZX 100, the Chaser. A lot of those 4 doors in FD Japan. Really cool cars. Real suited to this. And a little bit of a slow roll in the initiation, really unwinds it, some understeer there, and he is not going to be able to complete it. Now that is a real incomplete.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, he'll have to opt for his second run here to try to make it into the top 32.
He was putting together good runs in practice prior to qualifying.
Right.
And I guess it's just one of those situations where you get a little bit stressed out by the prospect of putting together a run on the spot for qualifying. And that can make or break somebody's weekend for sure. You know, you can go from putting together great practice runs, and then as soon as you get into the qualifying position, nerves get the better of people and end up making mistakes that they haven't made any other time in practice, so it's not easy.
So tough break there for Shinichi. And I'll have another one back as we make our way through the driver lineup. Next driver up at the line, as far as I can tell, looks like car number 88, Tetsuya Kume. And the MCR factory on Velino, S14. Yep. And here we go, leaving the start line, heading down the front straight line approach, snaps it towards the wall, lets it float, a little bit of e-brake. Pretty good job there filling that second outside zone. Now trying to connect that first inside clip. He's on that third hash mark, moving back around, snaps it back and throttles through the finish line. Like you said, Ryan, not a lot of lift here. Pretty much a full throttle course. Let's take a look at the replay.
So watching his initiation, a little bit of a step to the initiation there. You can see that it kind of paused for a second. So there'll definitely be a deduction there. Pretty good through outside zone 2. You can see as he goes by inside clip 1, though, the angle reduces as he's going by the clip, and he's not quite as aggressive as he could be in that area. So going to be a deduction there from the angle judge, definitely. Commitment-wise, did pretty well. Probably a little deduction there for the initiation on the style side of things as well.
All right, so scores starting to come in here for Tetsuya Kume. Highest score of an 80 so far. We've got an 80, a 74, a 55, and an incomplete, which is a 0. Waiting for our 5th score to drop. 46-5 for 3 drivers now, 43 drivers now after a few guys DNFing from practice, and it's a 73 for Tetsuya Kume. Up next on our list is Tomohiro Murayama.
But we're going to Mizutani because Murayama was not on the line when it was his turn, so I guess he forfeits his run.
He's a forfeit. Want to put an NA there. So Daichi Mizutani in the S15 up at the line. Car number 963. Leaving the start line now, coming through the chicane. You can hear the car full throttle, now initiates. Back on throttle early, but misses completely that second outside zone. Now wrapping through that first inside clip. Nice fluid transition to the second inside clip, but Ryan, with so much importance in really setting up your run there, it looks like he left a few areas to desire, especially on that second outside zone.
Absolutely. You can see that the front of the car was, he had quite a bit of wobble from the front wheels. So kind of a stepped initiation again, and as he was coming through here, you can see the front end kind of going back and forth. He ends up going really, really wide and trying to reach in for inside clip 1 and doesn't really make it, but does make quite a big sacrifice on angle to try to do that. Finished off okay, but definitely left a lot of points on the table, especially the 15 points for line on outside zone 2. So definitely something that he's going to need to improve on run number 2.
So Daichi Mizutani, run number 1 is in the books. As we wait for his scores to drop, we send the next batch of drivers out to the hot pits. And a 63 for Daichi Mizutani. You can see where he left a few points on the board there.
Quite a few in style, quite a few in line, a little bit less in angle, but yeah, definitely left a lot of points in all 3 categories there. A lot to improve. But that outside zone 2 is difficult to achieve, and it's something that you need to be fully committed and very precise with to make it work. We've seen 2 or 3 cars at very least go into that tire wall at outside zone 2.
Yasuhiro Takaki, first driver up. Uh-oh, a lot of speed here, very dangerous. Oh, woo! Extremely exciting, but it was probably a bit of a mistake on the initiation. Very, very close to spraying us with all kinds of debris. We are about 15 feet back and about 10 feet up from that second outside zone. Let's take a look at this again, Ryan. Walk us through what happened here. He got really, really close to that wall.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to make it through there. So he missed outside zone 1, got very deep in 2, a little bit late, but did fill the most of it there. He might have dropped 1 tire, hit the end of the zone marker, and then made it through the rest of the course. He did overshoot from outside zone 2 to inside clip 2, but in terms of commitment, it looks like it was a pretty high commitment run, but definitely not the most accurate run that I've seen.
All right, so another run where the importance of the initiation playing a major role. We'll see how the score drops here for Yasuhiro Takaki, the T-squared driver with on Accelera. It looks like we've got another S13 as we take a look on board here. The drone giving you some better insight from the top-down view, just how close these drivers are to those hash marks. You guys take time to set up the course, lay everything out, measure everything, and then paint the zones and clips, not only to help the fans here on site, but also live stream fans. And definitely from the drone, you get a good perspective of how close they are. What do you guys expect in terms of the inside clips on the hash marks? Is the first hash mark basically right up against the clip, or is it just a little bit off?
The first one is a little bit off. It's not immediately right on. It's probably right on the line that's just beyond the rumble strip there. So you want the bumper to be right up on that rumble strip, on the actual clip itself. And as it's incrementally further away, that's when you're going to start deducting points. This is a car that has been seen as very stylish.
All right, Yuji Saito, S15, starting off his campaign, floats it into that first outside zone, or the second outside zone rather, after a pretty decent initiation, takes out that cone. Now wrapping through those final set of turns. Let's take a look at this run one more time, Ryan.
Pretty deep in outside zone 2. Outside zone 1, unfortunately, he was a little bit low on angle. He wasn't really as snappy as he could have been in that situation. But it did a good job through the rest of the course. A little bobble there as he went by inside clip 2. Overall, a pretty smooth run, but definitely some things to clean up, like that initiation. So I think from the style judge, he's definitely going to get a deduction there. But not a bad run to start things off with. And he ends up with a 75. So you can see there on the style side of things, definitely 11 points gone from the style side alone. On the angle side, he lost 8 points. So definitely some places where he can improve. I think initiation was one of the big ones. Probably style-wise would have hurt him there. Definitely on the angle for that outside zone 1 was not at the angle that he could have been, and what the maximum we've seen from other drivers, which is what you'd get a high score for, could be doing a lot better there.
Right. All right, so our next driver up here, the Good Ride driver, Yin Harino, very famous driver here in FD Japan. Starting things off, nice float out to that second outside zone. As we catch up with him here, shooting out to the first inside clip, ripping through this section of the course, and a nice solid performance. Could have been one of the better runs we've seen so far.
A very smooth run.
Let's take a look at this, Ryan, as we visit Yin Harino.
Oh no. It's a nice shot right there. Kind of frozen in time. Oh, here we go. Is that from the drone? We have a drone shot. No, we don't. No replay. All right.
All right, no replay. A little bit of a hiccup there.
Do not get a replay on that one.
Bing, bang, boom.
These things happen, Ryan.
But a good run for Yin Harino nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a smooth run. I think it's going to get him a decent score. Scores are in. We're just going to wait for the scores to come up now.
And an 8-0 for Jin Harino in the S15. The Good Ride driver starting off strong. He's tied for first place, rather. So good run number 1. Ryan, talk a little bit about what your expectations are as we bring to the line Kazuya Matsukawa in one of the most classic drifting cars pretty much ever. The expectations here with FD Japan compared to qualifying in the States, where we see so many 90s, everybody's saying, oh, why are the scores so close together? What do you think is going on there?
I think it's just because of the drivers getting better and better and always upping their game.
Matsukawa really ripping through the track here. He starts off with a nice solid initiation, a little bit of an e-brake pull, now an adjustment in the front wheels, wrapping through that first inside clip. Here comes the second one, flying through the course, making easy work here. Kind of slow rolled the initiation, but he was really able to get out to that first and second outside zone. Very few corrections and really maintaining a lot of speed here.
Yeah, I think he's going to do well on the, maybe not on style for initiation just because of the lack of snappy initiation, but certainly on the line he did a good job. He got wide on 1, wide on outside zone 2. Pretty tight on the clips as well. So I think he should do pretty well. Like I said, just a deduction on the style side of things there for the initiation, but I think he's going to do pretty well. I think it'll be a very comfortable first run points-wise. It'll put him in a good position as he goes into his second run later on. So an 82.
And he takes over the first place position at current right now, an 82. Kazuya Matsukawa in the AE85. Trueno, probably the vehicle that has the most legacy tied to drifting of any vehicle that's ever been involved in drifting. The S chassis certainly have that as well, but
Yep.
we don't often see them in competition much these days, so nice to see one back, and especially one that looked like it was flowing through with adequate power.
There are a couple competing from the same team, so there'll be another one of those coming up shortly.
Manabu Fujinaka, a return to FD Japan, has had some success at many courses here in Japan, starting off his first run here in qualifying.
Early initiation.
Very early, not able to get the angle just right from outside zone number 1. Really pushes wide, has to work to get back to that inside clip. And Ryan, once again, we see another example of a driver that is really able to connect the second half of the course, but the first half of the course a bit more challenging.
Yeah, the first part is the difficult part. If you're going to take a chance and really throw things, caution to the wind, let's say, outside zone 1 and 2 are the two areas that can really bite you. The rest of the course, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a lot easier than the first half of the course. So it's one that if you put together the first part, the second part is no problem. If you mess up the first part, there's still a chance that you can get through the second part pretty adequately.
All right, so waiting for the score here for Manabu Fujinaka. Taking a look on board here, Ryan. Here's a good perspective from the drone.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to get your impression of this kind of shot, say, versus what we use, the high-speed drone. What helps you guys more just when you're looking at judging?
With this view, what we get is consistency. The drone can be left in the same spot. It can pan a little bit like you saw in that video, and you can really see the positioning of the car everywhere it's going throughout the track.
All right, so a 77 kicking things off for Manabu Fujinaka. He'll be right up there in the mix. Highest score of an 82 so far that we just saw laid down there by Kazuya Matsukawa in the 85. And moving right along to our next driver, Kazuhiro Kubo in the S13. Lots of different variations of S chassis here this weekend, plus a lot of four-door vehicles. So a good amount of diversity. Oh, boy, nice snap there. Does miss that outside zone a little bit and comes off early of that second, but very aggressive start here. Swooping wide and really has to draw kind of a little bit of an awkward arc as he hits through the S's through that last inside clip, but really love the aggressive approach, especially on initiation. Wasn't able to get the payoff that he wanted, but certainly no lack of flair here from initiation into that second outside zone.
Now that's the kind of initiation that you want to see. That's the kind of commitment and dedication that you want to see on a run. You just want to combine that with a little bit more accuracy. So he was off outside zone 1 and 2, and he missed out inside clip 1. But if you look at this initiation, snap to angle so quick. Unfortunately, he just didn't get himself positioned properly on the track. That hurt him for 1 and 2. And then you look at inside clip 1 here. He was about on the second hash mark. And then inside clip 2, a little bit closer than that. But you want that kind of aggressiveness, but you want more accuracy with it. So you can see the line score here being deducted quite a bit.
So a 76 there for Kazuhiro Kubo. In the car, relax with cockpit is how he has it labeled here. Always very fun to read the sponsorship and the vehicle name that's submitted by these guys. As we will move on to the next driver here, Hidehiko Sujita in the C33 Laurel. Don't see these too often, but really beautiful vehicle, four-door, heading into his first run. Slow rolls, rate to angle, a bit short. Uh-oh, he's going to come up a lot short there. Has to pull out of drift and will succumb to an incomplete on run number 1. So unfortunately, after what looked to be a promising start there with a lot of speed coming down the front straight, he's not able to pull himself together and manage the momentum to connect outside zone 1 and 2.
Yeah, over rotation there, unfortunately. He's looking good in practice, but again, practice doesn't always transfer well to competition, especially qualifying where you get 2 chances to get out there and put together runs that will put you into the show, and sometimes the pressure is a little much to handle. So not always easy to handle the pressure that's on you, the stress. You're trying not to let down your team, your sponsors, everything else. Maybe you got a little bit too much on your mind at that time, so it's not easy.
Well, if you're just joining us here, we are in Japan This is the Suzuka Twin Circuit. It's 1:30 local time here. This is the U.S. English broadcast. The main broadcast is a Japanese broadcast going out here with commentators to our left. I am Ryan Sage, joined with Ryan Lantain. You guys may remember us from the U.S. series. It's about 9:30 on the West Coast, 12:30 on the East Coast. Thanks for joining us. And here we go, our next driver up, Tomonori Tasaka, pushing very wide here, having to get off throttle, and now struggling as the twin vehicle that came up a little bit ago, a few cars ago, looked like the execution was a little bit better there. But Ryan, let's take a look at the replay and see what we can dissect here from car 333.
Unfortunately, I saw a lot of points left on the table there, especially on line, probably on style as well in terms of the commitment throughout the course. So he's going to have to clean it up for the second run, definitely. But those mistakes will hurt him in this score.
So judges logging scores here for Tomonori Tasaka. The second AE85 Trueno to join us here in competition. And we will see another first, at least today, with the V35 Skyline coming up next. Go Kamiya.
From what I'm told, that car is pretty stock.
All right.
It's very loud, though. That VQ is definitely loud.
Waiting for scores to drop here for Tomonori Tasaka. A nice day here. A little bit of humidity in the air as Tasaka drops a 54. He'll want to throw that one away. We've got a nice light breeze pushing off, and pretty good conditions here. No rain in the weather forecast, which is really good, especially with the luck that we've had this year.
Yeah.
On Valino tires, it is Go Kamiya. Heading down, taking a tighter approach here, really slowing down his initiation and not getting it going at all. So pretty much dead in the water there, Ryan. Unfortunately, yeah. It would be a very late initiation or failure to initiate. With the standard rules, I assume that's going to apply here as well.
You're absolutely correct. And he only started practicing today. We didn't see him at all yesterday in open practice. So what we did see in practice was, I'd say, similar to what we just saw. A couple of runs maybe a little bit better. But it looked like he was taking it easy there, easier than we actually saw in practice. So I know it's going to be difficult to do a good, solid, high-powered, exciting run in a stock car with some stickers and seats in it, basically. So he's going to have to be a lot more aggressive than that.
Well, you guys will certainly know this driver if you follow drifting pretty much any time for the past 20 years. Nyato Suenaga in the S15 has had some real success in the series. One of the older drivers and still going strong. Let's take a look here as he's flying. Really big initiation, wow. Right up against the wall. Blast through that first outside zone, right at the edge of the second outside zone. Extremely aggressive approach here. Little bit of angle reduction right after inside clip number 1, but one of the more aggressive runs that we've seen so far. Let's take a look at this replay, and that was a nasty initiation right up against the wall. No, give us the right replay, please. Come on, guys.
It's going to be hard to top that initiation. That was very, very committed in terms of the speed he was coming in at, the way he threw the car aggressively right at the wall. He must have been inches away from that wall. Did a great job getting into outside zone 2. He may have left it a little bit early, but very, very impressive run, and it's unfortunate that we do not have a replay on that one because that was a lot of fun to watch.
Come on, is that right? We don't have a replay on that? Please, let me see that again. Please. That was awesome.
Yes.
No, that's not him. Oh, there must be a good-sized freak out going on right now.
You know what that score is? That's unfortunate. That run was amazing.
Well, we are about halfway through our 42, 43 driver field now, or getting to the halfway point. If you're joining us online, you can watch this broadcast in at least 2 different locations. You can watch it if you're on Facebook on the Formula Drift channel. And 88, Fernando Suinaga takes over the lead.
So his line is where he lost the most points. You can see there 6 points lost on line. I would say outside zone 2 was the main area for that, just because he left it early. Because it is worth 15 points, there's a lot to lose there. A lot to gain as well, but you have to be really precise through that area. But I'd say keep the initiation, just bring that drive a little bit deeper into outside zone 2, and the rest of the course will kind of flow together after that.
Well, making a strong claim, car number 1. Tamanishi Horotomo in the S15. And after Suinaga, this looks like a pretty pale comparison here. Struggling on both the initiation and outside zone 1 and 2. And it kind of gives you an idea of the level of Suinaga on that last run. Ryan, take us through this replay here.
Yeah, the initiation was not as snappy as it could have been. Didn't really get to the angle that would be viewed as enough, let's say, for a full score through there. He actually got into outside zone 2. A little bit shaky, though. As you can see, the car's moving around a lot. It's not really settled, so he is making some corrections on the angle side of things. So he is going to have to clean this up to get a better score. I'm sure the commitment side of things is going to be hurting a little bit, like you said, especially after watching Suinaga. So you can see there a lot of points left on the board.
So getting a look at Harutomo Tamanishi, he scored a 68. That'll put him right in about mid-pack. And going back to what we were saying before, you can join or watch this broadcast on various platforms where we are live streaming on Facebook on both the Formula Drift Japan and the Formula Drift USA page in English. You can also find the Japanese broadcast on the Formula Drift Japan website. And you can also find the English broadcast on the Formula Drift website. We will also be doing a delayed broadcast on YouTube a couple hours after each day's competition. So we are in qualifying right now. If you're joining us, it's Saturday mid-afternoon here as we move on to our next driver, Sauro Iwasaki in the S13. A bit off that first outside zone, and it continues on the second outside zone right in front of the judges' stand. We can see the movement in the car. His line is really suffering here as he goes wide on both the first and second inside clip.
This is a female, Ryan.
What did I say?
He.
Oh, excuse me.
That's all right.
My bad.
I'm here to help you.
Thank you. So let's take a look at her run here, Ryan. What were some of the big takeaways on her first run in qualifying?
Well, it's what we've been seeing in practice from her, unfortunately. She's having a hard time getting out to outside zone 2, but she is able to get through the course with decent angle. As you can see, the car looks fairly settled through a lot of the zones and clips, but she's just not accurate, and she's going to need to work the car out further to outside zone 2 if she's going to want to get those big scores. The line is going to suffer a large amount here, unfortunately. She's going to get a big deduction on the line for outside zone 2 especially. She was way inside, so out of 15 points there, I'd say she's going to be getting very, very few, unfortunately, so that's going to really hurt her score. So
besides the incompletes, we have a low score of a 55 currently, a 54, a high score of an 88, so that is your spread thus far. 32 drivers making it into tomorrow's competition, 43 at current that have registered and that have made it through practice. 46 originally started the event weekend, and Saori Iwasaki drops a 49, so a big punishment there on the line, as you mentioned, Ryan, and she will definitely want to give that another go to try to increase her score. Our 3 judges here this afternoon, we've got you, of course, Ryan. To your left is Andy Yen. And Robbie Nishida is our 3rd judge, also acting as a commentator on the Japanese side, so very exciting over there. Shinichiro Saito, another regular in the FD Japan series. Looks like the hood is kind of coming up a little bit. Floats out to that second outside zone after a pretty mild initiation. Throttle control ripping through that first inside clip. Nice fluid motion back around with just a little bit left on the table there on that second inside clip. And once again, Ryan, we just see it really is all about setting up that initiation, that rate to angle, locking it in, trying to float out to that second outside zone and back on throttle as quickly as you can.
Yeah, so the rate to angle there wasn't ideal, but he did get out to outside zone 2 pretty well. A couple of bobbles on the steering through that zone, so there'll be some deductions there. But really settled through the last 2 scored areas, which are inside clip 1 and inside clip 2. So overall, not a bad run, but I think it's going to lack on the commitment side of things and style.
All right, so setting up our next driver coming up to the line. Explain real quick, for those that didn't catch it. Sectors?
Sectors?
No?
No, we haven't imported the sector scoring here to Japan. We're sticking with the scored areas that we have as outside zone 1, outside zone 2, inside clip 1, and inside clip 2.
So point assignments per area, basically.
Exactly. And then the style covers the overall run. Yeah.
So it's similar to sectors, but it's not as formalized.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the scoring ends up being pretty similar. You might get a couple more deductions, let's say, if you're using sector scoring, which end up being double deductions for the same error, let's say on angle and style. So as either system can work because it's fair for the drivers from start to beginning, from beginning to end, I mean, is what I'm trying to say. But the score numbers, the actual scores themselves, the numbers may be a little bit higher in the system that we're using here because there will be fewer deductions, double deductions, let's say, throughout the run.
All right, so here we go. Tomoyuki Kitashiba, the first 86, heading down. Oh, snaps it in the opposite direction, but the rate to angle was pretty slow there. Feathering it out to that second outside zone, but not getting very deep, and he pushes a bit wide here as he tries to draw that arc back around to that first and second inside clip. So the run pretty much over as quick as it started there, but he will get a scored run. Let's take a look at some of the details here, Ryan, as he leaves the line.
You're absolutely right with that initiation. You can see he does a big snap to our right, his left, but the car doesn't really get to rotate as much as you'd like to see. So he's going to get hurt on the style side of things there, definitely the commitment and the fluidity for the rotation at that point in time.
Car number 48, Tomoyuki Kitashiba, representing Goodyear and Sunoco. The first 86 as we go on board with the drone, seeing it from above. That's us right there in that tower, so we are very close to the action of outside zone 2. You see that little bit of that flub, that arc that he was drawing after he pushed shallow on the second outside zone. The line that he was drawing to that first inside clip looked like it hurt him a little bit there, so we will wait for the scores to be computed and see where he locks in run number 1. Yes, and if you are joining us, 61 for Tomoyuki Kitashiba. We are looking at your comments. If you have any questions, we'll try to address them implicitly. This is the Formula Drift Japan Championship, so different than the U.S. Championship. And a different set of drivers, a completely different set of courses all the way here in Japan, a 5-stop championship through 2019. Kenji Yamada kicking off his campaign in the S15 Sylvia. Another driver that pushes wide, has to make his way back to that first inside clip. Good throttle control through the finish line there. Not a lot of lifting, but let's see how the first part of the run transpired for him as we go on board here with Kenji Yamada.
Pretty good initiation there. Could have been a little bit snappier, but definitely one of the better ones we've seen so far in terms of the quickness to angle. Through outside zone 2, did a pretty good job through there. Angle at the finish line there, you can see through that last clip to the finish, pretty strong angle there. So here we have a drone view, give us a nice overhead. You can see that the rotation was okay, could have been better, could have been deeper in outside zone 2. He did go a little bit wide here and had to reach in for that inside clip. But overall, not a bad run, so it should be a fairly decent score.
All right, waiting for scores to drop here for car number 888 in the S15. Extremely popular over here. in Japan, of course. A 75 for Kenji Yamada, the veteran in FD Japan. A nice middle of the road run there, should be enough to get him in. And we are halfway through our first lap in qualifying. We'll take a quick commercial break. Usually those are about 2 minutes. We'll come right back and we'll finish up the first run of qualifying here at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan, round number 1 at Suzuka Twin Circuit.
Jisho, 雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる。止まる。止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。The brightness, called brilliant. Valenti.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Brilliant.
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Alspo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Kenda。伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮、チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC。 モティー。
The brightness, called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
All right, and we're back here at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan, round 1, Suzuka Twin Circuit. Here in Midway Prefecture, Ryan Sage along with Ryan Lantane and judges Andy Yen and Robbie Nishida. We've made our way halfway through the field for run number 1 of qualifying. And now we move on to our next driver, Tetsuya Iha, in the GRS 204 Crown. Looks like it doesn't, yes it does, but there we go. He is up at the line, car number 18, our next driver. We've got a high of an 88, a low of a 49. That's your spread so far in qualifying. And as we make our way halfway through the field, we will see the higher ranked drivers come up first. Here is Iha. Nice little snap there. Woo! Dangerously close to the wall. Really let that bad boy float out.
We just got sprayed with rubber.
Right in front of the judges' stand, blasted by rubber and other particulate that has been accumulating on the track. Let's take a look at this replay, Ryan. Give us your impression here of Tetsuya Iha.
Definitely high on commitment. Not as precise as you'd like to see. He did go over the outside zone 2 line there, but definitely deep in outside zone 2. There's no doubt about that. A couple of corrections here and there. So overall, I think he did a great job on the run, especially for a first run. So I think he's going to get himself set up pretty well. So you're going to be able to see here his initiation from the air. Really deep there, hit both markers for outside zone 2. He had to reach in for inside clip 1, as you can see there, pretty low angle. So he's going to get a deduction on that. But overall, pretty fun run to watch.
All right, so a regular here in the Formula Drift Japan Championship, Tetsuya Iha. Trying to lock in a solid score to build on his overall campaign. Each driver getting 2 runs here. As we wait for the scores to drop. As Iha makes his way off of the grid, and we bring 3 or 4 new drivers onto the hot grid. A 74 for Tetsuya Iha. 7-4 is his first run here in qualifying. All right, moving on to our next driver, Shuji Yoshino in the HCR 32, the Skyline. Another classic. Car number 321. And it's 321 you go as we await his light to drop. And there he goes through the chicane, heading down the front straight, blasting really here the throttle. Lets off for a second, snaps it back the other way. Oh, does not really get the angle, and now driving very shallow and pushing extremely wide. Oh, and he's going to unwind it all the way, have to reinitiate, and that should be an incomplete.
Yes, unfortunately it will be. He's been having trouble today. He didn't participate in most of practice. I heard the car as he was trying to get it running right in his pit area there. He would start it up, and black smoke would be pouring out the exhaust, and it wasn't sounding very healthy at all. So unfortunately, he's got some definitely some engine trouble. I don't know if it's a tuning issue or what the problem is, but the car's not running at its full potential, and you could see that here in his run.
So not the way you want to start off your first run of qualifying, all the pressure being added to the second run in order to make it into the top 32. As we will wait for his score and then move on to the next driver. This course been home to round number 1 of Formula Drift Japan for about 4 years now. And there you go, making it official, the incomplete for Shuji Yoshino in the Skyline. And up next on the start line, it looks like it is Akihiko Hiroshima. Am I seeing that right?
I think you're right. It's so difficult for us here to keep track of everything. The drivers, some new drivers here at this round that we've never seen before as well.
Yep.
But we don't know these drivers as well as we do the U.S. ones, that's for sure.
Hiroshima in his first campaign. Here he is in the S15. Snaps it. Pretty light on the angle after the initiation. Just touches that second outside zone. Throttling to hit that inside clip. He'll go a bit wide there. Throws it back the other way and through the finish line, smooth sailing from there. So nice speed coming down the front straight, but rate to angle was suffering a little bit and just a little bit tight on the line on that second outside zone.
Yes, this is one of those safer runs for the first portion of qualifying. It'll definitely get him a score on the board. How well it's going to place him, I wouldn't say very highly in in the current list, the current roster, let's say, of qualified drivers. But it is a score nonetheless. As soon as we get, I think all the scores are in. Just quickly calculating, a 69.
69 for Akihiko Hiroshima in the S15. Could potentially be a keeper depending on how the trend line develops out from here.
And that last driver just came on the track, gave us a little wave as he went by. Nice little little hello to the judging tower.
And it looks like the production guy's having a little bit of a rough time trying to get things sorted out here. But there he is, our driver on the line.
She.
Oh yes, the husband-wife duo.
Yes, the Minoas.
Misao Minowa in the JZX 100 Chaser. The Heyman team, very popular and famous here in Japan. Making it into a few head-to-head matchups last year. Let's see if you can do it today. Nice little roll, initiates, comes up a little bit short on that second outside zone. Line being drawn looks pretty decent. Hits that first inside clip and tight on that second inside clip. So definitely some areas where there can be some improvement, but our second female in competition here looks like she may have logged a keeper of a score. Tell us about this run, Ryan.
Initiation wasn't too bad. Could have been a little bit snappier, but she did get to angle pretty well. Did miss that outside zone too considerably, so Robbie's going to be pretty strict on the line portion there. But her angle throughout the rest of the run was pretty solid. You can see there a couple of little bobbles as she came by inside clip 2, but overall, pretty solid score, I think, for her. From the angle side of things, at least, I know she's going to get deducted pretty badly there on outside zone 2, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens here in a second.
Score starting to drop for Masayao Minowa. We will see her husband, who is currently the #1 driver in the series. He will be our last driver to qualify. He's still quite a few cars away.
And he's #1 based on his finish from last season, right?
That is correct. Yep. With Mad Mike not able to compete this year. And there you go. Masayao Minowa drops a 70. So could be a keeper for her, but definitely something to build off for run number 2. We head back to the start line and we find our next driver, Takatoshi Imamaeda. The S14.
It says S15 on there, but that is not right.
Definitely a 1-4. Here he is, first run in his campaign. Initiates, good angle there, but misses the first and second outside zone. Had a lot of speed and good angle, but really the line suffered there. Oh, and snaps it back around and has to pull some angle out. Oh, he goes off course, all 4 off course now after the finish line, and he got a little bit wild and excited there. Let's take a look at this again, Ryan, and walk us through what happened here.
So let's watch his initiation as he gets the car to angle. Not super accurate where he's got the car placed. Completely missed outside zone 1, completely missed outside zone 2. Really wide there before inside clip 1, so he's got to reach in for it. You can see the angle was very poor, through a huge transition there, ended up straightening and going off the track before the finish line. So not the smoothest. This aerial view should give us a great indication of what happened. So you can see there, missing those zones completely, not putting the car where he should. He's going really wide here. He should be much further inside. Had to reach in, very low angle there, and then very low angle by that clip. Made it through the finish line, but then unfortunately went 4 wheels completely off the track.
All right, so waiting for the scores to drop here for car number 145, Takatoshi Imamaeda, representing 5X Tires. A lot of new brands coming through this year. I know keeping Kevin Wells, our competition director, busy.
Yeah, what do we have, 10?
Yeah, quite a few.
Brands?
A 64 for Imamaeda. We'll see how that holds as we work our way through the remainder of the field. All right, our next driver up Driver you may remember, car number 7, Junji Yamamoto. He's on Valinos. Strong presence here this weekend. Here is run number 1 from him. Straight line approach, whips it towards the wall. Big angle here. Just gets out to that second outside zone. So after a great initiation and a pretty decent second outside zone, he's trying to hold this thing together as he wraps through that final inside clip and shuts it down as he passes through the finish line. Let's take a look at this again, especially give us some insight here on the initiation.
That was a fun initiation to watch. The angle that he managed to get through outside zone 1 was pretty impressive. So pretty snappy. You can see that he did have a slight correction there, an angle on outside zone 2. But overall, a really great job through there. He did have a deduction in angle by inside clip 1, as a lot of drivers are overshooting and having to reach in for that clip. So it's unfortunate. The overshoot really changes the way the car gets through the rest of the course. So yeah, you can see here very, very wide, and then having to reach in for that clip, and then gets the car back to angle for the next clip, which he did pretty well around, but did make that error early on.
All right, Junji. An 82 for Junji Yamamoto. He must have switched cars. On my notes here, it says that's.
Yeah, we were talking. We had that issue over here as well, but yeah.
Kazuki Hayashi, the next driver up. We've got a pair of 86s, twin 86s in the series this year. They are ranked right next to each other, car number 33 and 938. Here we go. Kazuki Hayashi rolls into his initiation, big e-brake pull, but good job on the line on that second outside zone. Pushes wide, has to work for that inside clip. Throwing it back around, and he will finish run number 1. So Ryan, what are your impressions here of car 33?
The initiation could have been a little snappier. The angle that he achieved, you can see there, slow, kind of like a stepped rotation. Did a good job on line. They're getting out to outside zone 2. But like you said, overshot again coming into inside clip 1, and then having to really reach for it. Overall, I think the fact that he did well on outside zone 2 is going to help him in a pretty solid way in terms of line score, being that it's worth 15 points for line. It's also worth 10 points for angle, so pretty good job there. But right here, as you watch this aerial view, you can see the way he has to reach in and kind of late apexes, if you will, that inside clip.
All right, so waiting for the official scores here for Kazuki Hayashi. Running the Potenzas.
So he's a part of the team, I guess, with the 80-85s.
Right.
Team Droopy.
84, so a nice way to start off his first run. That'll put him right up there in the top 5. And he'll be happy with that score. As we go to our next driver, Yusuke Kusaba.
Had a big crash yesterday in practice.
Big crash yesterday.
But got it together, and look at him out here now.
So clean and fixed up. Starts off, initiates off that first outside zone. Just barely touches that second outside zone, but a very wide swing here. Completely misses that first inside clip. And with a little bit of motion in those front wheels as he left the second outside zone, he knew the line was going to be a bit of a problem there. Ryan looks like he just got offline from the onset. He was a little bit shallow or off of the first outside zone, and did that have a big impact on the approach for the remainder of the run?
Yeah, I think it did. You see the initiation was slow to rotate and also not wide on that outside zone 1, which didn't allow him to get to outside zone 2. Like you said, way off of inside clip 1. He didn't even make the attempt to get into that one. Rotated the car nicely there and got into inside clip 2, but I think the errors made early on are really going to hurt his score.
right, so flying through the first run of qualifying here.
Some very loud cars coming onto the track.
Some very loud and some very highly anticipated cars coming up as Yusuke Kusaba drops a 66. We'll want to improve that for run number 2. Daichi Oshiro was to be our next driver. Looks like he is going to scratch at least run number 1. You may remember him. He drives the JZX 100 Mark II, the red one. A few drivers that have some partnerships out of Japan that come here. So we'll move on to Yuichi Amagai. Really interesting initiation. Floats it out and does fill that second outside zone, but now dropping the momentum, feathering the throttle to try to get back online here and wrapping around. He's going to go real wide on that last inside clip, blow it completely. But let's take it back to the replay and take a look at what transpired here in his initiation and approach to outside zone number 1.
Good run up to initiation there, a little flick. Slow rotation, slower rotation, not the quickest rotation, but great line there through outside zone 2. Like you said, though, did slow up quite a bit, and I'm pretty sure Andy's going to be strict on that. Kind of a slow rotation as well, going to inside clip 2 from inside clip 1. So line-wise, definitely left some points on the board. So let's watch this aerial view from the drone. Yeah, you can see the rotation's pretty slow, not very accurate there, but did manage to get to outside zone 2. Good angle there as well. A couple of bobbles approaching inside clip 1. Got pretty close to that one, but really slow rotation going to inside clip 2, which he kind of missed as well.
All right, so scores starting to be computed here for Yuichi Yamagai, representing Team Perfect Style in the S15. Looks like he's happy with that performance, or waving somebody down, one of the two. He heads back to the hot pits. He'll take a look at the vehicle and head back out there for run number 2. As we slowly, as we take a look here to 2 of the top competitors, you got Cheng Nien and Andrew Gray, teammates, have done battle together in a very infamous matchup last year at Fuji, as Amagai drops a 78. A 7.8 for Amagai, not a bad start for him. And we will move right along here. Masakazu Hashi, the Peace Works RDS Racing on Valinos, the S15. Car number 84. First run of qualifying here. Let's see what he can do. Straight line approach, quick snap right next to the wall, pushes hard. Comes up a little bit short on that second outside zone, but very close to the wall on initiation. Makes a correction there with the front wheels. Oh, and he's really reducing the angle. The car may not be running the way that he wants to. It looks like that started manifesting from inside clip 1 to inside clip 2. Let's see if we can get a look at how the initiation was. Extremely close to the wall, Ryan,
yeah.
But even with the speed that he was carrying, not able to get out to that second outside zone.
Yeah, unfortunately, what he did well in the beginning is offset by a poor finish through the inside clips. And although there are more points in the early portion of the track, the deductions that he got at the end are really going to hurt him, especially on angle, as he left a lot of points on the board there. Fortunately, it doesn't look like the replay is going to quite work right, but did a great job on outside zone 1, the way that he initiated. He got right out there, big angle through the zone. Outside zone 2, there were some corrections, unfortunately. You can see the front of the car, the front wheel is moving quite a bit. He reduced angle near the end of outside zone 2, and then very, very low angle. He did manage to get through there with angle, but it was not a lot at all through those 2 areas. So.
And you can see it manifest in the score here, a 64 for Masakazu Hashi. And one of our drivers looks like up next that we will see from Singapore, 2 Singaporean drivers in the series. Benjamin Chiam in the JZX80, the Supra, the wide body kit, running with Team Kazama and also Power Vehicles. And he's on the Valinos this year. So let's take a look to see how things come together for him in run number 1.
Yesterday he posted a picture online. It was him in his JGTC style Supra against the Audi, which is like a DTM style. So it was an interesting blending of the two styles there.
Benjamin Chiam, fast approach. Really good job on that second outside zone. Aggressive from the launch. And wow, really looking like he is wanting to push the pace this year. Extremely fast through this course. Really the only thing that looked like could maybe be some improvement was a snappier initiation.
Yes.
It looked like he did a really great job on that second outside zone though, Ryan.
Yeah, he did. He's been doing great in practice. He's been looking pretty strong through outside zone 2. You can see there the rotation was a little bit slow on outside zone 1. The angle was not huge on outside zone 1, but great angle and line through outside zone 2. Look at the rotation there from inside clip 1 to inside clip 2 as well. Pretty good job through there. I think he's going to get a decent score out of this one.
So Benjamin Chiam, if you have followed his work here in FD Japan, has really had some high moments last year coming into his own. Very similar in the progression of Shang Nian, who Shang ended up top 4 in points in the championship last year. So he has had a tremendous improvement from his times debuting in Pro 2 in the United States. And there he is. It's your new leader. Benjamin Chiam drops a 90. So just 2 points left on the table for style, 6 for angle, and 2 for line. So a great job by him, and he's going to be very happy with that score.
Yeah, if he gets a little bit better on outside zone 1, the angle, the rate to angle, I think his score is going to be even better on the next run. If he can keep the majority of the run the same, just improve on that in outside zone 1 angle, I think he could do pretty well.
Here we go, next driver up here is Katsuhiro Ueo. Fans of drifting around the world will know him. Famous for his time in the A86, transferred from that after 2008 and the Red Bull Drifting World Championship, and has been in the S15 ever since. Let's take a look at his approach here. Another driver running the Velinos. Very aggressive approach. Doesn't fully get that initiation the way he wanted to, but beautiful on line and still a strong run here. Nice transition back around, Ryan. I mean, this is a pretty good run here for the veteran.
Yeah, he looked really controlled in his initiation, unfortunately. If you watch it from above here, you can see kind of a stepped initiation. He didn't really rotate the car as aggressively as he could have. It looked like he was going to be aggressive coming up, and then it wasn't quite as aggressive as it could have been, but great transition there from inside clip 1 to 2. So overall, a great run, just a couple of things to improve upon.
All right, so the veteran, Katsuhiro Ueo, in the S15, puts a good run down. Let's see how that slots him up, and the next driver up is going to be one of the most highly anticipated cars, as he gets an 87. So starting to see these scores tick a little bit more northward as we move up in the rankings here. And this next car has been the talk of the paddock for the past couple days as we've been setting up. It's Kazuya Iizuka, who is a regular in FD Japan and debuting this DTM-style Audi A5. And a lot of pressure on him. Beautiful looking vehicle. Now, Ryan, it's really about, can it perform?
He's taken a lot of his practice time and used it wisely. Started off very much on an inside line. By the end of practice, he was, oh no.
And he is
That's
pulling
terrible.
off the line. Now, we should say, Ryan, that we just had a practice conclude prior to qualifying, and we did see some runs from him, and we know that there is certainly some potential in the vehicle, but unfortunately he is pulling off of the line. It looks like he is going to forfeit run number 1, and we're not going to see it happen.
Boy, we really built that up, didn't we?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of my Audi.
Yeah, he started off in practice at the beginning of yesterday's practice session being way inside on all the zones. He wasn't really pushing very hard, but gradually worked his way out through all the practice sessions. And by the end of the session today, he was filling outside zone 2 really, really well. So he was getting super comfortable in the car. He was confident placing it where he needed to place it. And I think he could have done pretty strongly throughout the run there if he hadn't had a break.
So now the pressure is on for him in run number 2. He'll be one of a handful of drivers that have incompletes. They've been pretty rare here today. can remember times in the past where the grip levels have really been tough to judge here at this track. Or a few years ago, we saw even the top drivers trying to figure out what they needed to do. But it is going to be an incomplete run number 1 for Kazuya Iizuka. And obviously, it's a mechanical issue that they're going to need to remedy here in probably about 45 minutes as we make our way through the last few competitors. We're almost into the top 10 here. Daisuke Hara in the S15, car number 85. He's on Good Rides, representing MJ Style Auto Service. Here is his first run of the afternoon. Heading down, pretty light on the aggressiveness. Big e-brake pull after initiation. Probably could have let the angle be utilized a little bit better there. I like that snap back around. But Ryan, still some of the drivers getting used to how hard they're going to push it on initiation into outside zone number 2.
Yeah, that initiation needed to be snappier. He needed to have more angle through outside zone 1. Definitely more angle, more line through outside zone 2. So leaving some points on the board. You can see kind of the controlled stepped initiation there. Didn't really get into the box in outside zone 2. So Robbie's going to deduct some points for line there. As he comes through the inside clips, pretty good job though. You can see the rotation there, great transition. So his angle through the latter part of the course, which is, of course, the easier part of the course, was pretty strong. He just needs to get a little bit more confident on the beginning parts of the course where the points are a lot thicker through outside zone 1 and 2. Outside zone 1, you've got 10 points for angle, and then you've got 5 points for line. You go to outside zone 2, though, that's where things get pretty serious. There's 15 points for line and 10 points for angle, sorry. So it's a 25-point area right there. Plus any errors you're making on style, so it can hurt you pretty quickly.
All right, so only a 69 there for Daisuke Hara. He'll want to improve on that. It may be enough to get him into the top 32, but we still have the top 10 competitors left to go, and they are likely to get scores in the mid-80s or higher. This is Yoshitaka Ogane, car number 77. And has had a strong history in FDJ. Here he goes, flying into initiation. Big e-brake pull though, back on throttle, gets into that second outside zone. He was a little bit off the first one after initiation, but now whipping through the course. Smooth transition into that final inside clip, trying to maximize the line points. And he'll get off throttle through the finish line and finish up there. Let's take a look at this run one more time here and break down Ogane.
A little bit of a slow rotation there at initiation. Could have been more aggressive, but outside zone 1 was pretty good on angle. Outside zone 2 as well. He was in the zone, so he should do okay on points there. And pretty good transition, I would say. Not the strongest, but a solid transition there from inside clip 1 to inside clip 2.
All right, so Yoshitaka Ogane in the RX-7, starting off with a nice little run there. We'll see how the judges favor that overall. It's an 81, and that'll be a keeper for sure. Just at the bottom of the 80s. And we've got a handful of those, so he'll be well positioned for run number 2 to build on that. And that'll make us move right along to our next driver, Tadahiro Fukada, the Tanabe SSR driver on Dunlop's, the JZX 100 Mark II. Really famous driver in the series, has had some great battles over the years, and looking to break into that top 5 this year as he prepares his first run of 2019. Fukada, aggressive, looking for a nice snap there, but unfortunately he lets it really hold out on that e-brake pull and really drops the momentum. Really surprised here with this start here from Fukada. He had nice momentum after initiation, but that e-brake pull just kind of killed the overall flow and moving forward. Ryan, what was going on there? Was he just thinking he was going to go into the wall, did not have the speed appropriately set up?
Yeah, maybe he felt a little bit overcautious about his line. Maybe he thought he was going to overshoot, so he thought that big e-brake pull was necessary, but it definitely hurt his momentum, and it's going to hurt his score from the commitment side of things for sure. I know Angle, he got dinged 10 points overall, so that's leaving a lot of points on the table right off the bat. Don't expect a super high score for him here, unfortunately. what we expect what we usually see from Fukada. You'd expect more in this run.
Yeah, we definitely would expect better from him, but he will have a second opportunity to try and lock in a favorable score. Those second scores often become about positioning and tiebreakers, so we'll see where that drops him. Looks like it's a 68, so that came up. A 6-8. Hayato, I think this is Miyoshi. Yeah, Hayato Miyoshi in the good ride. R34 Skyline. Here we go. Woo. Nice. Much better. Lets it float. Minimal use of the e-brake. Is able to fill that second outside zone. Don't push too wide. Don't push too wide. But he wraps back around into that inside clip. Huge smoke line being generated. And I have to say that was pretty impressive there. We saw Miyoshi come on extremely strong last year towards the latter part of the season. And you got to love this initiation.
Yes.
High risk, and it looks like high reward here.
Yeah, no, that was a great initiation. The way he snapped that thing to angle. Did a great job in outside zone 2. Maintained good angle through these inside clips. Did go a tire probably a little too far on the inside there. Ended up hitting inside clip 2. But overall, a great run. I think from the commitment side of things, it's going to be a pretty good score as well.
All right, so a good start here for Miyoshi Hayato, the good ride driver in the R34. That's the first one we've seen. It'll be the last. It is our only R34 in competition. And we will move on to our next driver. I see him in the burnout box now. He has become quite a talking point, specifically because of his age and his talent. As we wait for the score here, we will give you some more info on Kanta Yanaguira, the top tool driver in the S13, who has been building himself a nice little career here over the past couple years. Very young, I think, let's see, he's got to be 17, 18 now.
You've been saying that since we started.
So I think it started off at 16, now it's 17. He's got to be 18 years old by now.
Must be.
But young kid, a lot of talent. It's an 89 for Hayato Miyoshi and a good start. That'll put him right up there near the top, just 1 point off of our current leader, Benjamin Chiam. So good job by him. Let's see what Kanta Yanaguira can do. He's had some very incredible moments, especially at Okiabuki last year.
And some great practice runs over the last couple of days as well. Pretty aggressive, filling the zone, so expecting a lot from him right now.
Also moving over to the Valinos. Here he goes. Nice snap, making it look good on the line. Minimal use of e-brake, and you can see the car control very available to him. Throttle on tap, good speed there, whipping through that final set of inside clips. And while it wasn't the quickest rate to angle initiation, he was extremely close to the wall, and it showed a high degree of skill in order to get that timing right. Let's take a look at Yanaguira's run once again.
Yep, decent rate to angle, could have been quicker, but like you said, really great line. Did an okay job through outside zone 2. Couple of little bobbles through there. Maybe slightly lower angle by inside clip 1, but pretty good through inside clip 2. And very committed drive, that run. It was on throttle, definitely no hesitation at any point in time. Just that rotation there could have been a little bit better. Left that zone a little bit early, but watch him come into this inside clip here. Very low angle right there. Kind of a little hesitation there on rotation. That's why these drones are so helpful. The things that they catch, the things that you can't see on the ground, but having that bird's eye view really changes everything.
All right, so Yanaguira starting off pretty strong. I like his livery this year, really interesting. Also the kit is pretty cool. All right, so
scores are in. We're just waiting for them to pop up here for you.
And I saw in the start line an 83 for Kanta Yanaguira, so that'll be a keeper for him. The driver up next has had more #1 qualifications than any driver in the past year, and that is Wataru Masuyama. And the only criticism that we've levied towards him, or that has been levied towards him, is just he hasn't been able to translate that into the head-to-head results. But you will quickly see, as long as he stays consistent, why car 530 has been our top qualifier over the past year. Swings it out right towards the wall. Big angle there, holds it, but comes up a bit short on outside zone 2. So he's going to want to repair that for run number 2. But you could see the sparks of genius there as he came into that initiation. He was really prepared to break the car the opposite way, point it right towards that wall and throw a big angle at it, Ryan, but unfortunately was not able to fill outside zone 2.
Yeah, you jinxed him. Great initiation, though. He got really wide to outside zone 1. Completely missed outside zone 2. That 15-point line score is going to be hurt in a big way right there. Nice rotation to outside zone 2, or sorry, inside clip 2 from inside clip 1. So the second half of the track was great. So let's see this aerial shot. The way that he rotates the car here, really quick, great rate to angle, good job. He kind of backed it in a little bit, which hurt him because he wasn't really able to get the car out wide the way that I'm sure he wanted to, but finished pretty strong.
All right, so for Masuyama, it'll be definitely run number 2 that he focuses on to try to get back and recapture those number 1 qualifying spots that he had last year.
Yeah, he's going to need to be way more accurate. He's going to have to throw that car with that kind of aggressiveness, but let it carry out maybe a little bit less angle through outside zone 2. Just, we're not looking for a reverse entry there at all.
All right, so our next driver up is, did we get the score?
Yeah, 77.
Next driver up is Koichi Yamashita. Weld, Work, Arai, and Villino. So a driver that has always been in the championship talk. He's had some really crazy moments last year with a number of drivers, including Minowa. Let's see how he does on run number 1. Comes up a little bit short on that outside zone, but pushes deep into the second. Looking to pick up the pace as he hits his first inside clip. Nice fluid transition back around to the second. And he'll finish up the first run, leaving a few points on the board here. Looks like he came up a little bit short on outside zone number 1.
Yes, looking at his initiation. Started mid-track and really looked like he was going to flick it hard. Did a pretty good job. Not terrible. Could have been a little bit more aggressive, but missed outside zone 1. Came through and got a decent chunk of outside zone 2. Inside clip 1 and 2, not too bad. Did a pretty good job through there. So overall, I'd say it's not a bad run, but he's definitely going to lose a few points in some key spots.
All right.
So he ended up with a 79 on that run. 79. I'm not sure where that puts him, but we've definitely had a few higher scores than that.
So Yamashita will have to settle for that 79, as you said. And we're now in our top 3. Shang Nian at the line has had a great career. Got the win last year at Fuji against his teammate Andrew Gray.
He's had a wild career, I would say.
A very
so far,
wild
right?
career. Has had some crazy crashes along the way, but has become one of the strongest drivers in the series right now. And he is out of the gate for qualifying run number 1. Heading down, snaps at big angle there. E-brake pull, back on it as he leaves outside zone 2. You can see the aggression is something that he has really been coming very famous for. And no lack of aggression there. A couple little mistakes, but let's break it down here. Shang Nian in run number 1.
Great initiation. I love the rate to angle that he had going into this run. You can see little bobbles there as he was coming to outside zone 2, but overall, great run. Could have been deeper in outside zone 2, but something he can clean up on run number 2. Fun run to watch for sure.
So going on board with the drone, you get a good look here with Shang Nian coming off that second outside zone a little bit early.
But look at his line coming to inside clip 1.
Yep.
Remember earlier we were talking about drivers that were going way, way wide. They were washing out. They were getting way too wide and having to reach in for inside clip 1. You need to have patience after outside zone 2 to get yourself in there, and he does. He's really figured out how to get that line right and ended up with a score of 82 despite the mistakes that he made. So you can see that he's got all the right, the recipes there. You just got to put it together properly.
And here is his partner in crime, or so it's been known over the past couple of years. These guys have done battle. Andrew Gray, this is the winningest driver in Formula Drift Japan history. Multiple championships. coming up a bit short last year. 3rd place next to Minowa and Mad Mike Wadette, and some storied battles between those two competitors, especially Mad Mike over the years. He is now well positioned once again to chase for the championship, and we are getting the green light to set him out on the track for his run 1 of qualifying. Here comes Gray heading down, very aggressive approach. Rolls it right in, beautiful line, very limited use of e-brake, letting the angle of the car dictate. And Gray has never really been one of those drivers to do the big initiation, the big rate to angle, but he's extremely precise on his line, and really where he seems to shine a lot, Ryan, is he is an incredible chase driver.
Yes, you don't want to be going up against Andrew Gray at any point in time because he will put a lot of pressure on you. He's very, very aggressive, but also very precise. Look at the transition there between inside clip 1 and 2. Very settled. The car looks great throughout the run. Like you said, though, the only area he's suffering in this run is the rate to angle on initiation. Other than that, very accurate. You can see he's inside just like Nian was. Came across that inside clip exactly the way we wanted him to. Him and Nian right now are the only two that are getting that right, and they're kind of the only two that have figured out what it is that we want to see through that section, and that's going to be something that'll set them apart when it comes to tandem battles for sure.
So Andrew Gray will pick up a pretty good score here in run number 1. It's going to be about where he stacks up. We've got a couple scores in the 90s, a 90 and a 91. Let's see if Andrew Gray can near those numbers. Our leader right now is Benjamin Chiam. Score starting to drop. Looks like it's going to be a pretty solid score for him, but let's make it official. And it's a 93, so he now becomes our number 1 qualifier. And you can see, Ryan, really the only downside of that run in terms of the 3 different categories mostly had to do with the initiation, it seemed like.
Yeah, that's where I gave him the most deduction, was outside zone 1. A couple points off there. Only 1 point off at outside zone 2 for the little bobble that I saw in there, but overall, those were the majority of his points were lost.
Here he is, your last competitor, but the highest ranked guy, Shinji Minowa, starting off his campaign here. A great job last year in 2018. Whoa, gets a bit wide there after outside zone 2. Does bring it back around to that inside clip, but that would be a very dangerous area for that to happen in head-to-head competition. So pushes a little bit, or gets rather extended on outside zone 2 and pushes a bit wide there. I think it'll still be a fairly decently scored run, but let's break this down. Yeah,
it's the same issue as what we just saw with Gray, is the slow rate to angle, but great job on line through outside zone 2. The problem with his run, though, is that he overshot from outside zone 2 to inside clip 1 and had to reduce angle and really bring the car in. So, as I said earlier, the only 2 drivers that have really figured that area out are Sheng Nian and also Angie Gray. So you can see there, kind of slow to angle, doesn't get to the max angle that you'd like to see. Outside zone 2 did a good job, but way, way, way wide here, and he's got to try to reach in for that inside clip. So having to kind of pedal the car in to get it to the right spot.
All right, so we will wait for the scores to drop. As we mentioned, that's our final competitor in the first run of qualifying. We will have the second half of qualifying. Once the score drops, we'll take a quick commercial break, reset all the drivers, and that'll be the show for today. We've got one more day of competition coming tomorrow as we get into the top 32 and into the top 16. And there it is, an 86 for Shinji Minowa. A good score for him, something to build on as we finish up here run number 1. You are watching the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan round 1 here at Suzuka Twin Circuit. We'll be right back for the second lap of qualifying.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に 止まる止まる止まる日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Brilliant.
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Contender.
伝統と革新、小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮、チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ、小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC。
モティ
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Brilliant.
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
contender
伝統と革新小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
And we are back here, round number 1 of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship here at Suzuka Twin Circuit.
Hi, everyone.
Ryan Sage alongside Ryan Lantane commentating and judging. Ryan, what was your impression of the first runs there from these top 43 competitors?
Well, we had some drivers that were, I don't know, maybe we were expecting more from, and they made a couple of errors, or maybe they were a little bit too cautious, but they got a score on the board. So now they have the opportunity in the second run, maybe the pressure's off a little bit, they can push a little bit harder. And then we had some drivers that maybe we thought, you know, this should be okay, and we ended up with some higher scores. So it's, we're not seeing the stacked 90 scores yet that we've been seeing in the US, but this is the second run. So we'll see what happens now with the drivers that are maybe a little bit more confident in their scores and their driving. They can throw the cars out a little bit more aggressively to outside zone 2 to really make sure they capitalize on the amount of points that are available there, because that's an area that you really can't miss, unfortunately, with line and angle, because if you do, that's 25 points right off the top you're going to be omitting from your total score. So super important point right there. A lot of these drivers here do have spotters now, which is great to see, and we just need those spotters to communicate the proper information to the drivers so that they are educated in what the other drivers are doing, what they need to do better themselves. The practice sessions that they have in FD Japan here are phenomenal. They just one after another through the track, so they end up with a lot of laps. And here we go with the first lap of the second qualifying run.
Tomoki Tanaka had an 80 on run number 1, so he's well positioned here. We've got a high score of a 93 from Andrew Gray, so drivers looking to improve here with the standard set by him so far. An 8-0 was his first run, so the number 5 driver here taking off in number 2. What was your impression overall?
Good rate to angle there. That was actually pretty smooth, just not precise, unfortunately. He did miss quite a bit of outside zone 2, and that's not going to be a high score for him on the line side of things, but the rest of the track was pretty smooth. I did a good job there. His transition from in clip 1 to 2 looked pretty solid.
All right, so he looks like he is in fair shape here with that 80 on run number 1, looking to improve that.
I don't remember what his line looked like on the first run, but he's definitely going to leave quite a few points on the board here for that line score. Yeah, you can see there 17 out of 30 for line. So big deduction for that outside zone 2, which was warranted due to the fact that he missed it considerably.
All right, so the 70 only becomes a benefit in a tie-breaking case if somebody else does score an 80 and has a second score, but you will not improve. So car number 408 sits at the line. Shoya Saito representing Car Guy Racing in the S15, yes?
We have a few Saitos today. I think 3 total that we're dealing with here.
Many Saito.
Many Saitos.
He had a 74 on run number 1. Let's take a look. Kind of a straight line approach, whipping into it. Nice job on that first outside zone. Oh no, come on. And he did struggle with that 74, but much improved on that second run, especially on the first half, and getting some appreciation there also to the Japanese commentators who recognized that he took a pretty sizable risk there on his initiation, but was able to pull it off.
So if you look at that initiation, you can see that he really snaps it there. Great angle through outside zone 1, outside zone 2 as well. And the angle, look at it, no change from the front wheels at all. So that is that key to getting from outside zone 2 to inside clip 1 properly, is getting in really early and not going out wide after outside zone 2. So look at his initiation, got to angle pretty well, big angle through that zone, really big angle by the end of outside zone 2. Did have a little bit of a reduction there, which it's so great to see this this drone footage that we have here. You can really catch what errors are made by the drivers throughout the course.
So we definitely are going to see an improvement on the 74. The question becomes how much of an improvement. And I like what I'm seeing so far here from Shoya Saito. He's got to be excited about that run. He was able to pull off a nice initiation and linking outside zones 1 and 2 pretty well there, in at least one of the best ways that we've seen so far this afternoon. And the judges do reward him handsomely at a 90. So that is a 16-point improvement from run 1 to run number 2 for car 408. We move on to car 666, Shuichi Amano. Now, he did struggle quite a bit. He had a 55 on run number 1. We're hearing the judges, rather Andy Yen, talk to Robbie Nishida. Robbie is doing Japanese commentating at the same time, so all you guys are playing dual roles here this weekend.
Yep.
But it is all for the good. Here he is. Mano is going to come up just a touch short on outside zone 2. He may have improved on that initiation at outside zone number 1, but he is having a little bit of a trouble here, even in the S turns. He does have that 55, which is a relatively low score, so you would think that he could improve on that. But let's take a look here at the replay one more time.
So as we see him initiate, you're going to see a lot of movement in the front wheels from him as he goes through the course, and that's what you can see right there. See the front wheels bobbling quite a bit? So his line is suffering a little bit. His angle is suffering as well. Let's watch the transition here. You can see the wheels slightly moving there, not too bad, but it's mainly outside zone 1 to outside zone 2 where there was quite a few corrections on the angle side of things. So let's watch it from above. Pretty settled there, but then all of a sudden he starts to get those corrections, and you can see the car moving around quite a bit. Look at the lack of angle through inside clip 1. As he transitions, you're going to see that he gets that inside clip okay, but the angle could definitely be better through there as well.
All right, so looking to better a 55. I think that would definitely be below the threshold here with 43 drivers at this point. That means that 11 of this field are going to be knocked out of tomorrow's competition. I think he'd like to at least be in the mid-70s to be safe. Let's take a look as the scores starting to come in here from all 3 judges. And it's a 62, so it is a marginal improvement, not the one that he probably wanted. And we'll see where that gets him overall. The next driver sitting at the line is car number 41, Shinichi Yumura in the JZX 100 Chaser. He has a 0, an incomplete. So this is do or die for him as he tries to lock in the best possible score in order to make it into the top 32. He leaves the line through the chicane, heading down the front straight, accelerating into initiation, turns over to the wall. Oh no, does not get to outside zone 1. Really struggling there to find the composure. He will not incomplete the run, but he will really struggle on initiation. Didn't fill outside zone 1 or 2 and pushed wide there. Ryan, what happened here to Yumura?
Well, we're going to see a big deduction on line for sure here. Points were left unclaimed by him, unfortunately. So outside zone 1 and 2 were completely missed. Yeah, not a great run, unfortunately. He had some great practice runs. It looked promising for him, but unfortunately, watching this replay right here, you can see where a lot of points were avoided, let's say. So outside zone 1 here, He's not going to get, it looked like the car didn't really rotate at all till outside zone 1, so that was a very late initiation. Yeah, that's going to be, that's unfortunate.
All right, so he will better the incomplete, obviously, but it will be a score that may not get him into the top 32. Let's see what the judges think. We just saw a 62, so that should give you some reference. It's probably going to be in that ballpark.
I'd say maybe lower than that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a 50, 5-0. So unfortunately not able to get the score that he wants on run number 1 or 2, but he will have to hold and hope for the best.
Great looking car, though.
Tetsuya Kume, S14 on the line. Decent score in run number 1. He had a 73. He's looking to take it up a notch here. He's been given the signal, and he is off for run number 2. Representing MCR Factory, he's on Valinos. Initiating well before the third standing cone. Will hit that first outside zone, but leaves the second outside zone a bit to be desired. Through that inside clip, reducing the angle for a second there, so a couple noticeable mistakes that are going to go against his favor. He's looking to better that 73. Let's take a look at the replay here from Tetsuya Kume.
You can see kind of a stepped initiation. It wasn't too bad, but he completely missed outside zone 2, unfortunately. You can see he's at a high degree of angle until he gets by inside clip 1, where he reduces it significantly. So he did get a pretty big deduction on points there. Let's watch the replay from the aerial view, the drone. So pretty good there. Did not get to outside zone 2. You're going to look at the, he went, pretty wide here. He's trying to reach into that inside clip. Very, very low angle. And the score is going to reflect it in that area. But he did pretty well on angle in the early portion of the course.
All right, so blasting through the first 5 drivers here. We are on the second lap of qualifying. If you're just now judging us or just now joining us, we are at Suzuka Twin Circuit. This is round number 1 of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. It's a 70, a 7-0, so he will not be able to better his second score. He will have to settle for the 73 and the 70 as a backup. Now this was a driver that I believe we did not see in run number 1. This is Tomohiro Murayama, S14 Sylvia on Dunlops. He opted out, so he did not run his first lap. He did not receive an incomplete. He just did not run it. So his one and only shot here. Nice job on initiation, looking pretty good, but falls short. Another driver falling short of that second outside zone. He has to draw a really wonky line to that first inside clip. Does make it look okay, however, but yet again another driver failing to even get into outside zone number 2. Let's take a look at the replay.
This was his one shot, like you said, to get a score on the board to set himself up for qualifying. So the initiation, pretty good there. Could have been a little bit deeper. The angle was pretty solid, but totally missed outside zone 2. So that's going to hurt his score significantly. And the drivers that we're seeing miss outside zone 2, their scores are generally quite a bit lower just because of the amount of points that are available to be scored in that area. So the aerial view here, pretty good rotation there, but it's the line that's going to suffer in that area. And then the line does not get any better as he gets out wide here and has to reach in, and will lose a couple of points there as well.
All right, so as we mentioned, the one and only qualifying opportunity here for Tomohiro Murayama, waiting for his score. 71. 71 is going to have to be what he hangs on to, and it may or may not be enough. Daichi Mizutani in the S15, a 63 on run number 1. Let's see how he manages here. Car 963, looking to improve. Into initiation, really close, but pushing a little bit long. He's going to go into the wall. He is going into the wall massively. And you could see that starting to manifest, a huge explosion right in front of us. And a big crash there. All the tire pallets getting blown to bits. Let's take a look at the replay, Ryan, and walk us through what happened there to Mizutani.
So running up to initiation, looked like he was really well committed, got the car to angle, got really backwards and just overshot outside zone 2. And this is really what I was talking about earlier, in that the drivers are really afraid to overshoot this zone because the consequences are pretty big if you do overshoot. You can see he kind of helicoptered there as soon as he got into the tires, and it's probably not going to be a whole lot of damage to the car overall. It's cosmetic, it looks like, mostly from here. There may be some suspension pieces that are broken, but overall I don't think it's going to be a super destructive amount of damage to the car from what we can see from here. They're going to tow it off the track just to be safe, but this is one of the things that can bite you at this track. This is going to be probably a few minutes to clean up. There are tires and debris everywhere. They're all out into the zone. So, yeah, we're going to need a couple of minutes here for cleanup. But you can see, for the most part, it's just bumpers and maybe headlight, taillight that are damaged on the car. Thankfully, those tire walls are there. They soak up a lot. We had a couple of cars go in practice. Even, I think, it was Backy that went in yesterday in his first practice run, and he was out partway through that practice run. They fixed the car up, and it was no problem at all. So I don't foresee there being, a lot of permanent damage on that car. It's just going to take a couple of minutes to clean up the body.
Well, we will take a commercial break to clean up the track here. Unfortunately, it's going to be an incomplete for Daichi Mizutani on run number 2. He's going to have to hold on to that 63. We'll clean up the course. We'll be right back here at round number 1 of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
The brightness, called brilliant. Valenti.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Grid.
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Contender.
伝統と革新小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC
Motis.
brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenti.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる、止まる、止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
革新のカーボンベゼル。Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ。
The brightness called brilliant. Valenti.
And there we are, live on the drone here in beautiful Midway Prefecture. We just got back from a crazy crash from the driver by the name of Daichi Mizutani, car number 963. Car comes out as you mentioned, Ryan, with purely a lot of cosmetic damage, but unfortunately it wasn't incomplete on that run. He has to stick with the 63. The story so far has pretty much been a 93 from Andrew Gray, followed up with a 90 by Benjamin Chiam, an 89 by Hayato Miyoshi, and a handful of mid-80s by a number of different drivers. And we still have a few drivers that have not completed a scored run, including Hidehiko Sujita, who will be up in just a few, and also Shuji Yoshino, who's going to be coming up. That could play a big role in the making of the top 32. But the highest ranked driver is Kazuya Iizuka in the Audi A5 wide body, the DTM style vehicle. He is still a ways away from his second run, but those are your remaining incomplete runs that need to be scored. Everybody else has a score, so we will see a full field of 32, which is no surprise there. It's really going to become now, Ryan, about where that cutoff is going to take place. Next driver up, Yoshihiro Takaki, 81. Good score, trying to improve. Off outside zone 1, off outside zone 2, driving aggressively, but leaving a lot of points on the table with regard to line. And snaps it back around, but not able to hold it. Has to pull out of drift, and it's going to have to be an 81 that he settles with on run number 1.
Not a bad score to have to settle with overall, really.
Yeah.
But, too bad. Missed opportunity here to increase his score. Missed that outside zone 1, 2. Headlights kind of flapping in the wind, and then unfortunately on the transition, looked like it was too early, and it just put him in a weird spot on the track. Had to straighten up to avoid going off the course, and ends up with a 0.
So making it official there, judges giving an incomplete. Pretty standard for that kind of mistake. We will move on to our next driver, which is Yuji Saito, the Total Car Shop Glitter on the S15. Pretty decent score of a 75 on his first run as he makes his way to the lineup.
Great looking car. That's a true Japanese style car design right there. An iconic car in that it's an S15, but the livery and the wheels, the body parts that are on the car, the spoiler, everything just comes together and makes that a really attractive package. You can see here as he leaves the line, getting through the chicane, accelerating up to initiation. Big flick. Oh, look at that. That was a nice initiation. Did a great job on outside zone 2. Big angle. See if he can reach in. Slight decrease in angle there to get inside clip 1, but a nice transition and a good job on inside clip 2. So overall, a great run from Mr. Saito.
Ryan, I'm sorry I left you hanging there. My paper flew away.
I saw that. That's all right. We
this is not the right paper.
This is not even yours.
He gave me the wrong paper. All right.
Great initiation. You can see the angle being maintained through both outside zone 1 and 2. And right here you can see just a slight decrease in angle as he comes to inside clip 1 and a slight bobble there at inside clip 2. But overall, a great committed run, deep in the zones, so it should be overall a pretty good score.
Woo! Okay, that was quite an ordeal, Ryan.
Stressful, but we got it. You're all good.
My paper flew off, and luckily Kenji Yamanaka was down there to help me out.
And how did you find a sheet that looked exactly like yours but wasn't yours?
With no numbers on it.
Yeah, where did that come from? All right, so that score was an 85.
All right.
10-point increase from his first run.
Yes, a nice improvement there by Yuji Saito. And that is going to give him some confidence as these numbers start to solidify here and the top 32 firms up. Next driver up, Yin Harino, the S15 on good ride. Good middle of the pack score of an 80. Here he goes, run number 2. Nice snap. Misses outside zone 1. Outside zone 2 and pushing that wide line all the way around. So we're still seeing some drivers struggle on that first part of the course. It was a pretty aggressive flick there, Ryan, but lacking the execution and getting in and out to outside zone 1 and 2.
Yes, he could have been a lot deeper in outside zone 1. Missed opportunity there. Did not really fill outside zone 2 either. He got close to the first line, but really didn't get into the box with his tire. So he's going to have some deductions there on line. Overall, good in the second portion there. He did go wide, like you said, from outside zone 2 to inside clip 1. So as we look at the drone view, which is always going to tell us the truth, you can see how he missed that outside zone 1. Slightly off outside zone 2 there as well. Really, really wide, low angle as he comes by inside clip 1. And he did okay through inside clip 2 and had a pretty strong finish, but he's going to have to clean that up.
All right, so 75, that is not going to better his first run. He's going to have to sit right at an 80, which is probably going to get the job done, but 75 will be his tiebreaker. And we will now head back to the AE85 Trueno, the Team Droopy. Kazuya Matsukawa, 82 on run number 1. Had a lot of speed, was pretty aggressive. Let's see if he can better it here on run number 2. Slow roll in the rate to angle category, but great line so far. Good precise driving here. Very little movement from the front 2 wheels as he snaps it back around. And that speed, even though the smoke line is much smaller, you can see that the amount of wheel speed less than a lot of the other drivers, but still really quick around the course.
Yeah, he's really putting that car in the right position throughout the course. Great transition there from inside clip 1 to 2. Like you said, the car seemed pretty settled. The front wheels weren't moving around a lot. Let's watch the aerial view. Did an okay job on outside zone 1. Pretty good outside zone 2. He came in pretty tight. Could have been a little bit tighter there coming inside, trying to reach into inside clip 1. But overall, much better than a lot of other drivers through that section of the course. So score should be pretty good.
So an 82 on run number 1. I think he'll be happy with his performance today. Both runs look pretty solid as we look on to his spotter here. Getting our next batch of cars coming out onto the hot grid. It's an 86, so he will bump up by 4 points. A good overall job by him to step up there on run number 2. And we will make our way to our next driver. It's going to be Manabu Fujinaka in the FD3S RX7 to 77 on run number 1.
So this car is run by Team Magic, which is the team that did run Mad Mike's team last year.
Right.
Different car, but very similar appearance on the outside from the aesthetics side of things, the body kit, the bumpers and things like that. But of course, it's a whole new livery with a different tire brand this year.
They're on a 3-rotor, right?
I have no idea.
All
It's
right.
a rotary, I know that.
Yep. There we go. Just a little bit of a long e-brake pull after he comes off outside zone 1 a little bit early. Outside zone 2 left a little bit left to be desired as well, but very quick through the course, some aggressive aspects to the run, a snappy initiation, but just lacking some of the precision there that we like to see, especially in the more challenging sections of the course.
You are correct. So looking at his initiation, pretty snappy. Could have been deeper, closer to the wall. Missed outside zone 2, but his angle was pretty set through there. You can see the front wheels are kind of set and forget. You know, it's not seeing a lot of correction from those front wheels. It could have had a little bit more angle at inside clip 1. Pretty solid at inside clip 2. So overall, not a bad run there.
All right, so waiting on the scores here as they are beginning to drop in for each of the judges. Again, he's got a 77. And he does not better. He is going to receive a 77 on run 1 and run 2.
All right.
So at least he's consistent.
Outside zone 2 definitely hurt him. Not getting deep into that zone was going to hurt him on line, and he had 9 points deducted overall for line. So it's definitely where he lost those points.
Car relaxed driver with cockpit, number 58, Kazuhiro Kubo in the S13. Next on the line, he's got a 76. Let's see what he can do here in run number 2. Heading down into initiation, snaps it towards the wall. Big angle there, just misses outside zone 1, but outside zone 2, much better. Stays on throttle. A little bit of reduction of angle front, leaving inside clip 1. He did put a lot of degree of risk into that initiation. It may have paid some dividends. He could have been a little bit tighter on outside zone 1. Let's take a look at this here one more time.
Yeah, that was a fun initiation. Really great rate to angle. Pretty good line initially there. Could have been a little bit deeper. Left outside zone 2 slightly early. And like you said here, he kind of pulled out angle as he was going by inside clip 1. Pretty good rotation there and a solid inside clip 2. But I guess the story is going to be that initiation. Pretty strong initiation from him.
All right, so car number 58 awaiting his score. As we mentioned, he has a 76 on run number 1 and hoping to find a better position. We've got our top 32 competitors competing in a opposites bracket, so number 1 versus 32, number 2 versus 31, and it's an 80, so he will better his score, and that better positioning may be what it takes to move you into the bracket, move you deeper into the bracket tomorrow. This is one of only a handful, less than a handful of incompletes. The C33 Laurel, driven by Hidehiko Sujita, is up next. Sitting at the line, he's got the green light to go, and he can leave whenever he wants. He's coming out of the chicane into initiation here, just right at the edge of outside zone 1, a little bit short on outside zone 2. Looking to slot himself in, but he's going to go a bit wide on inside clip 1, swing back around, and a little bit wide on inside clip 2 as well. So no question that it's going to better the incomplete. He'll get a scored run. The question now is going to be whether or not it is enough to move him on into tomorrow's competition. The only Laurel here in competition this afternoon. Will it make it into the top 32 as scores are starting to drop? Seeing a few more competitors come out to the hot grid now, getting ready for their second run. But our focus right now is on the driver that had an incomplete in run number 1, Hidehiko Sujita. And here is his score on run number 2. It's a 68. A 68 is going to be what he is holding. As we crunch all these numbers and find the best 32 runs overall, ties are broken by the second score and then by style if we get into a third tiebreaker. We're not seeing so many ties right now. Got a good mix of scores here. And we'll go on to the second Team Droopy member, Tomonori Tasaka. Second run. Woo. Big initiation. Woo! Really close to that tire wall, and he has to back off after he leaves outside zone number 2. Got real scary there for a second. But let's recall run number 1 was a very low score for him, a 54. And taking a look at this replay, Ryan, it looks like he knew that he needed to perform here. And the question is whether or not he pushed a little bit too hard.
Yeah, he took a big chance with that initiation. Big angle. Only dropped a tire slightly in outside zone 2, so his score should be pretty solid through there. He had to reduce angle coming to inside clip 1 because he did kind of have that wide line approaching it. But overall, very high dedication throughout the course, and on throttle through a lot of it too. You know, he didn't get scared through this area right in front of us where he definitely could have because of how deep he was going into that zone.
So maybe looking for just a little bit more precision there. We like the aggression. We like the big flick. Initiation seemed to separate a lot of the drivers in the head-to-head competitions, but they're clearly on display here in qualifying. He has that 54. Looks like the vehicle sustained a little bit of damage. But looks nothing more than a little bit of cosmetic repair needed.
Yep.
As we await the score here for Tasaka, it looks like it is going to be a 78. So that may be enough to get it done. It seems just looking at the scores with the layman's eyes, I think mid-70s may do it. But our next driver up has an incomplete. No, we are moving on from, so he must have not made his second run.
No, Kamiya has a broken transmission.
All right, so that he is out. That will reduce the number of competitors. The next driver in car number 26, Naoto Suinaga, the Team Kazama driver with power vehicles. Very much into competition. He's got an 88. Let's see what he can do first on run number 2. Wow. Unbelievable, and he pushes too far. Whew. That was scary, but awesome at the same time.
Yes, it was.
Wow. He went right up against the wall. He was flying
yes, he was.
down that front straight.
That was awesome.
After watching a number of these runs, Ryan, you really get a good understanding of whether or not the speed is going to carry depending on the angle. But tell us what happened here with Suinaga.
Well, you remember his first run, how great that initiation was, how snappy it was, how committed it was. Same thing here. The only problem is he actually made contact with the wall. Maybe this bumper hangs off a little bit more than the S15 he's used to driving from Team Orange, but this is a car that he's not accustomed to driving, but he was saying how powerful it is and how great it handles. So he's probably got a lot of confidence right now in the car, and just got a little bit too close to that wall. You can see the bumper touch, the spoiler touched as well, and sent him careening off the track and ended up avoiding hitting anything at all, which is great for him and his team, but definitely going to give him an incomplete on that run.
Well, you have to appreciate the effort there. He was pushing the limits. It is going to be an incomplete, but no worries for him. He has an 88 on run number 1. He is more than good to be suited and seated into tomorrow's competition. This will bring us to our next group, headed on into the hot pits. And our final driver for that previous group is going to be Harutomo Tamanishi in the S15. He's got a 68, so he will be looking desperately to improve run number 1. As we take a look at the scores, we are seeing a number of drivers improve from run 1 to run number 2, but the 93 from Andrew Gray still holding as the top score in qualifying so far. We are just about at the halfway point for run number 2, and we will now see Harutomo Tamanishi take a second run. Coming down the front straight, head on. Whoa. I think he knew he was going in the wall.
Yep.
And that is a good bit of defensive driving there. It will be a mistake for him, but it may have been worth saving the car. That was a overly aggressive or overly partially aggressive initiation that could have gone really bad.
Yeah, it looked like he was about to make the same mistake that Tsunaga just made, but potentially even worse. You can see the way he threw the car, and he definitely did that stepped initiation. He's going to get hit a lot on the commitment side of things. Unfortunately, it's going to hurt his score pretty significantly, I think.
So he will get a scored run, but it's unlikely that it's going to better the 68. Problems on initiation there. Looks like just didn't get the timing right. And though he may have really done a good job to save the vehicle in terms of defensive driving, it's going to cost him in his overall qualifying score. So 68 is his first run score. And now Harutomo Tamanishi awaits score number 2. Get a nice overview shot here of the beautiful Suzuka twin circuit. Paddock full of 46 drivers, whittled down to 43. As we see Tamanishi unable to better his second score. He'll have to sit with a 68 and a 61. We head right back to the line for our next driver. This is do or die for our one of 2 females in competition, Saori Iwasaki in the S13. She's got a 49. Can she improve? Heading down, initiates a bit off that first outer zone, misses the second outer zone. Rubber goes flying, bounces off the car. She's pushing a bit wide and late on that first inside clip. She gets through the course, will receive a scored run, but the question is, does it better the 49, and is it enough to make it into the top 32?
I think this run is better than the previous run that she had put down earlier. So looking at the initiation, pretty good rate to angle. Missed outside zone 1. Unfortunately, it's missing outside zone 2 that's going to hurt her the most. And coming to inside clip 1, she was off of that as well. Kind of a slow rotation there at inside clip 2, but she's getting through the course. She's definitely improving every run that she's doing. So just more seat time, and I'm sure she'll be able to do better again next round.
All right, so as we wait the score, we will line up our next driver at the start line. Saori Iwasaki. Run number 2 is going to give her a 61. So it is a large and sizable improvement from the 49. The question is whether or not it will be enough. She is done for the afternoon, a 49 and a 61 respectively. And it's Shinichiro Saito, the second Saito of 3 in competition. He's got a 75 representing Car Guy Racing. Here's the 180 SX at the line, and he has been given the green light to go. Heading down into initiation, here he comes aggressively towards the wall. Nice job there, pushes a little bit, has to adjust, but he's able to fill that second outside zone. Looking for the right line here on that first inside clip. Nice smooth transition back around. A little bit of a late apex on that final inside clip. Through the finish line there is Shinichiro Saito. And it looks like he was trying to push the pace there, Ryan. Was he able to execute?
He looked like he hesitated at initiation, and that's something that we saw in his previous run as well. But you can see once he goes through the course, the second part of the course here, very settled. There's just one bobble at inside clip 2, but for the most part, the car looked really, he looked confident in the car. You see the initiation. You can see the slowdown there. That's not what we're looking for really in that area, and I'm sure the style judge will be deducting him for that. But overall, okay run, just needs to clean it up a little bit and be a little bit more confident through some of the areas that require that confidence to get the higher score, especially through outside zone 2. Yes, he managed to get a tire in the box, but in terms of the style side of things, I'm sure there's going to be a deduction from Andy for that.
All right, so it's a 75 on his first run. It's a 78 on his second run. So small improvement, but it may be exactly what he needed there as we start to see where these scores are solidifying here between runs 1 and 2. Our next driver up struggled on his first run. It is Tomoyuki Kitashiba in the 86, representing Sunoco and Goodyear. The pressure is on here for him to try to maximize the scoring potential on this run. Heads down into initiation. Oh no, 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 it's not gonna do it. From initiation, he struggles to get the car on the right line with the right angle. He has to pull out, and unfortunately for him, a 61 is the best he's gonna get. We are now officially at the halfway point of the second run of qualifying. Ryan, let's take a look again here at Kitashiba and walk us through what happened on this incomplete run.
Yeah, he had a big flick to the to his left, trying to get the car set up for the initiation, and then the actual initiation itself was kind of slow, and you could tell he was trying to control it there, but he ended up overshooting and spinning out completely. Unfortunately for him, like you said, he only has a 61 on his previous run, so it's I don't know, it's debatable. I don't know the current standings at the moment, but 61 may not be enough to secure a spot in 32, but we'll have to see until the end of qualifying here to see where everybody lines up.
All right, so our next driver up, Kenji Yamada, S15 Sylvia. Mid-pack run so far, 75 for him. I think wanting, if possible, to get into the 88s for car 888 on Nexon Tire here. Green light has been given to him. He leaves the line, and here we go. 75, looking to better it. Really close to the wall there. Pulls some angle out, but fills those zones. But unfortunately, he runs really wide after outside zone 2. Has to really close down to hit that inside clip. And while he may get some line points from outside zone 1 to outside zone 2, there was really a lot of movement in the front wheels, Ryan, and he did push very, very wide on outside zone after outside zone 2.
Yes, he did. So initiation could have been a little bit quicker, but once he got to the outside zone, he really overshot outside zone 2 in a pretty serious fashion there. The line score is going to suffer for sure. Good through the finish, though. It's just that really that first part of the course where the majority of the points are, unfortunately, that he made some mistakes.
All right, so a pretty decent score on run number 1 at 75. Let's see what the judges think here on run number 2. As he finishes his campaign. Score is starting to drop as we wait for the final tally. And here we go for car number 888 and 82. So after the 75, he will get a little bit of a bump in his overall score line by 7 points. So we will take our last scheduled break. We are officially halfway through the second run of qualifying here at the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship at Suzuka Twin Circuit. After these messages, we will finish up qualifying.
実証雨に強いタイヤ横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜
革新のカーボンベゼル Bluetooth 搭載 G-SHOCK カシオ
The brightness called brilliant. Valenty.
Quality of Japanese craftsmanship. Grid.
What's up, guys? It's Frederick Ospo, and I use RSR suspension on all my drift cars. I love RSR. Iyo RSR Ichiban.
Contender.
伝統と革新小倉クラッチのテクノロジーを凝縮チャンピオンを取るためのクラッチ小倉レーシングクラッチ ORC
The brightness called brilliant, blinding and vivid. Valenty.
実証雨に強いタイヤ。横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる。日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に。雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜。
All right, and we have just completed our last scheduled commercial break. It'll be smooth sailing unless something crazy happens here in the second half of qualifying for our top 43 drivers, trying to be whittled down to our top 32 for head-to-head competition tomorrow. It is currently 3:35 Japan Standard Time. You are listening to the English broadcast, which probably means you're somewhere in the States or Europe or somewhere else. But if you are watching this broadcast, you are getting it either from the Formula Drift website or the Formula Drift Facebook page or possibly even the Formula Drift Japan page. You can find the Japanese broadcast on the formulad.jp website, if that's what you're looking for. But where we currently are right now is on the second half of qualifying, second run. And we're going to our next driver, Tetsuya Iha, in the GRS 204 Crown. 74 on run number one. It was a very aggressive run, had some high points, but a few mistakes. He's going to want to better that 74. It looks like scores are starting to tick a little bit more northward the second half around. So here we go. Iha trying to make his way into the top 32. Nice initiation right at the edge of outside zone one. Gets into the middle of outside zone two, right on the line. Lots of power in that vehicle. You can see the throttle control, couple adjustments being made there. And maybe a sense of desperation here, trying to make sure that he gets the best possible score here in run number 2 to solidify his position in the top 32.
Pretty good rate to angle on initiation. Did miss outside zone 2. He got his tire right on the outside of the box there, but definitely could have been deeper into that box. Looking at the rotation here, like you said, there was a little bit of a correction right there. But overall, pretty smooth run. Just off a couple of key points on the track there where he could have been a little bit more precise.
So taking a look on board here, the drone, you get a good vantage point. He was able to get right at the edge of that second outside zone. The line being drawn was that mid-line. He's able to hit it with a pretty good arc. A couple little tiny corrections there towards the end. But he's looking to improve on that 74, Ryan. Trying to get into the 80s or higher. He gets an 80. So he will improve on his second run. A good job there, moving 6 points higher. Our next driver up is one of only 2 drivers remaining in the field that have an incomplete. The second driver being Kazuya Iizuka with a mechanical in the Audi A5. So here we go. The R32 Skyline has an incomplete. This is Shuji Yoshino. It was really about driving the last time around. He kind of struggled from the onset. Let's see if he can button down and put together a good run here. He leaves the line. Straight line approach into the initiation, pulls out, snaps it towards, doesn't get the angle that he wants, but this time around, it looks like he's going for that complete run. Oh, no. Big mistake there. Looks like we had a tiny bit of opposite drift right after inside clip number 1. Let's take a look back here at the replay. He has an incomplete, remember. This will be his competition over if he can't get a score.
Initiation did not really get to the angle that he needed to get there. Didn't get out to outside zone 2. And you can see right here as he comes by inside clip 1 is where the front wheels are going to, really hard to tell from that view. Hopefully we have an aerial view that we can watch. We'll see if we have the drone view. Oh, that is great. The drone view is going to give us everything that we need. Hopefully they got him in the frame. But you can see there a lot of control in the angle, not really letting the car get wide out to angle where he needs it to be. Really very poor through there. We could, if there's a reinitiation, generally we'll give it an incomplete. So I think that's what it's going to be in this case. It comes down to being able to follow that as a chase car and fulfilling the requirements of the qualifying that we're looking for. And unfortunately in that area, not exactly what we wanted to see through that inside clip. He did have a straightening and had to reinitiate the car, so he will get an incomplete for that one.
And that is something that we'll be talking a lot about tomorrow, teeing up for tandem competition, is this concept of unchaseable lead. And it really is seeded here in qualifying that drivers are being told to try and run the best qualifying run that they possibly can, as close to 100 as possible. And that is expected of them in head-to-head matchups as well. And mistakes that would make it hard for the chase driver to follow are considered here in qualifying. So let's move on. Akihiko Hiroshima, a 69 in run number 1. Early initiation. This may be a better job here. He takes a pretty high risk on initiation, and even though he's leaving some points on here after inside clip 1 by going a little bit long, it looks like the execution was at least better than average coming into that first outside zone. Let's take a look at it again here one more time.
I think there will be a reduction in the style category due to the big lift in outside zone 2, the one where right about here he kind of got off throttle, probably was a little bit worried about stuffing the car into the tire wall, but overall did a great job on line and angle, got really deep, probably dropped the tire in outside zone 2, but in terms of, if you want to be deep or not, or too shallow, I'd say without hitting the wall, you'd want to be a little bit deeper. So you can see there a tire just over the line, but it ends up putting him on the proper line, getting into inside clip 1 almost. You want to be a little bit tighter through there. So overall, not too bad.
All right, so he's got a 69 on run number 1. This is Akihiko Hiroshima.
I think it'll be better than a 69, but you have to give him, some props for pushing really hard like that and being committed.
Absolutely, and it's a very reputable score here, an 81. That should be enough to get him in. We still have a few drivers that are in the mid-60s or lower, so there could be some guys that get knocked out depending on how these next scores fall. Here we go. Masao Minowa, the wife of Shinji. She had a 70 on her first run, so she's going to want to better that. Let's take a look here. Here it is, run number 2, bringing it towards the wall. Slow roll initiation, unfortunately misses outside zone 1 and just at the edge of outside zone 2. This looks very similar to the first run. Let's see if she can clean it up and impress the judges through this final section of turns here. And so Masao Minowa, she's going to be done for the day. The question is, will she make it into tomorrow's competition? She's got a 70, and she's looking to push the limits here of her JZX 100 Chaser.
On initiation, she didn't do too bad there, but then she had to pull some angle out as she was going to outside zone 2, which unfortunately she missed. She didn't really get into that zone as well as she could have. Coming around to inside clip 2 here, much better in terms of angle and fluidity through there, but it's the early part of the course that may hurt her score.
Well, great to see 2 females in competition, and let's see if we can get one of them in the top 32. Minowa waiting for her score. We saw Sayori Iwasaki improve to a 61, so she does not have the score that Minowa has. And it's a 64, so unfortunately she's going to take a reduction between run 1 and run 2. She will have to hope that that 70 is good enough to make it in. And our next driver is at the line, car number 145, Takatoshi Imamaeda in the S14. A lower score for him last time around. It's a 64, and we just saw a 64, so let's take a look and see if he can improve here on run number 2. Initiates. Looks like he's got the line pretty dialed in here. He comes off a little bit early on that second outside zone. The inside clips look fluid, but a little bit late. And he puts together what looks to be on the face of it an improvement from run number 1. But let's go through it from the start line here, Ryan, and break it down.
I'd like to see more angle from him at outside zone 1. You can see the rotation's pretty slow, getting to angle. A little bit better through outside zone 2. He definitely did a better job on inside clip 2 than he did on the first run, as he had a really low angle score through that area on the previous run. So definitely an improvement on the angle side of things.
All right, so taking a look here from the drone. Going on board, giving that wide view of perspective. The painted lines starting to fade here on the second half of qualifying. 64 in run number 1 for Takatoshi Imamaeda in the S14. What's he locking in on run number 2? Score starting to drop. Looks like we're cutting away back to Imamaeda as he makes his way back to the pit. Will this be the last time that we see him this weekend? It's a 71. So a 71 is an improvement. It was actually the inverse of Masao Minowa, basically a 70 and a 64, and a 64 and a 71 from those 2 competitors. So a 71 is what he's going to sit with, and we'll move on to our next driver that is up at the line. This is Junji Yamamoto in the FD3 SRX7.
No.
No, this has changed. But it is him.
Yes.
That's right. I was just reading my list here. All right, so here we go. He has an 82. Big snap, big angle, not going to hold.
Nope.
And he shuts it down. So whatever happened with the car that he registered, he is now in the S14. He has that 82 on run number 1. It may be enough, but it's going to be an incomplete on run number 2.
I don't know what happened as he came in front of the judges stand here, but he definitely maybe he was in the wrong gear, or he was on throttle, but the car just didn't have the power to keep the wheels spinning right there. You could hear him on throttle, but he ended up having to lift and just kind of give up there. And now we have a really loud car coming on the track. That's that DTM-styled Audi A5, which was a street car before it was brought out for competition. Some people think that it was converted from a DTM car, but in reality, it was built by an ex-GT, or I guess touring car mechanic. So a lot of similar build ideas, concepts were used in the construction of that car. You can see the influence, I guess you could say, on the inside of that car from the touring car world. You can see a lot of it in the build of the exterior and the way the body panels come off, what's underneath the body panels as well. So it's a pretty nicely built car. We'll see how he does here in the second run shortly.
Third member of the Droopy team up next, Kazuki Hayashi, the ZN6 86 and 84 on run number 1. Looks like he's going for aggressive. Woo! And he will really reduce the speed there. It was a lot of angle, but not enough momentum. He's going to pull out of it, and he's going to shut it down for run number 2. An 84 should be a good enough for him. But unfortunately, not able to improve on run number 2 there. Let's take a look at this again one more time, Ryan.
The initiation was nice initially, but just couldn't maintain the line around through outside zone 2, and then over-rotated coming inside clip 1. Fortunately, wasn't able to keep the car drifting through the entire course. Scores an incomplete, but his first run, he had an 84, so hopefully that'll get him into the show. Pretty sure an 84 should secure him a spot in the top 32 for tomorrow, but he definitely got a 0 on that second run.
All right, so we will move on to our next driver. This is a driver that does need to improve. He's got a 66. This is the second ZN6 86. Yusuke Kusaba. He's in the box.
He did have that crash in practice. I don't know if that helped or hurt overall his driving from that point on. But we're going to see what he can do in the second run of qualifying here.
Down the front straight, here we go, second run, Toronto improved. Very early initiation before that third standing cone. He looks like he's in some trouble here. Not able to pull together those first and second outside zones. Throttling through the S-turns here. He's going to go wide on that final inside clip. And still seeing some struggling here. Let's take a look, Ryan, and walk us through this initiation and what transpired on outside zone number 2.
So as he comes up to the initiation point, throws the car, but ends up falling way short. His line score is going to hurt significantly, as is the style score, because of all those handbrake pulls. What we had described in the drivers' meeting that we wanted from the drivers was for them to be really committed on throttle and using the momentum to get themselves out to outside zone number 2. And it looked like in his case he had to be grabbing that handbrake a lot to help drag the car out and get himself positioned, as he didn't quite have the right line or momentum to get himself out there.
So he's got that 66 in run number 1. As we take one parting shot from the drone to cap off Yusuke Kusaba, it's a 67, so a 1-point increase from run 1 to run number 2.
So it seems my question was answered. Did the crash hurt him?
Yes.
I think it maybe did.
Yes.
You know, maybe it hurt his confidence a little bit, because he's not really getting out to outside zone 2 the way he should. Not getting that drive up to outside zone 1 that'll allow him to carry his momentum through there. So, you know, maybe going a little bit too hard in the first run has hurt his confidence, and he'll have to fix the car and build his confidence back up before the next round.
Yuichi Yamagai in the S15. He's got a 78. Very early initiation, just right at the edge of outside zone 1. He's going to come up short on outside zone 2. Drops the momentum down. Now he's getting back on throttle. The line being drawn was a little bit off what you'd like to see, Ryan. He'll finish up his campaign for the day. He's got a score that should get him into the top 32 of a 78. So let's take a look here at the second run of Yuichi Amagai.
It looked like he got himself to angle, kind of stepped there, that initiation. It wasn't as smooth as it could have been. Totally missed outside zone 2. And then he was on that wide line that we do not like to see from outside zone 2 to inside clip 1. So I think that's going to be held against him because not only the line was off, but the angle had to be reduced to get to inside clip 1. So you can see here from the drone shot, as he goes a little bit wide here, he's going to have to reduce his angle and try to get the car in to inside clip 1, but doesn't really succeed in either one of those categories in that case, unfortunately. So I think his score is going to suffer.
And he will drop 6 points comparatively from run number 1 to run number 2. He ends up with the 72. So for Yuichi Yamagai, he is done for the afternoon. And we are getting closer to our top 10 drivers as we move on to our next driver that also needs an improvement. This is Masakazu Hashi. Pieceworks RDS Racing on Velinos. We're seeing a lot of that here this weekend. He's in the S15. 64 is his marker. 75 or higher should be the goal here to more or less get you into the top 32. On my guesses here, my numbers. All right, here we go. Woo. Big initiation to big angle. He's going to hold it. And he was throwing everything, including this, excuse me, everything, including the kitchen sink at that. But he makes the big angle reduction through that last inside clip. Ryan, walk us through what you saw here on run number 2.
Very aggressive on the throttle, clearly, as he's trying that reverse entry and trying to keep himself out of the tires. So you can see here he's pretty backwards. Manages to keep that angle through there. But as he comes through inside clip 1, you can see a reduction in angle there. And then as he transitions here, he doesn't really get the car transitioned as he'd like to. So there's going to be some angle problems there, and perhaps even with the style portion. So from the drone, you can see here he's backing it in, as you'd say, but not really what we're looking for. Backwards entries aren't really great in competitive drifting, and he's not really able to finish the run very strongly here, as he's got to take some angle out of the car through different parts of the track.
Car number 84, Masakazu Hashi in the S15, finishes up his second run to end his campaign here. He's got that 64 on run number 1. Score starting to drop for him as judges enter them in. And let's take a look here. Some of the spotters looking on. I know there's a few fans in the mix that came internationally like us. 69, so a little bump in score for him, 5 points from the 64. And that may not be enough, as we like to say, not the prettiest.
Not the prettiest.
All right, Benjamin Chiam, he started off our session with the first 90 in the block. The JZX80 Supra on Team Kazama, also representing Power Vehicles.
Woo, look at that.
Nice. Looking good here, and Benjamin Chiam seems to keep increasing the confidence in his driving run by run. He already has a 90, and Ryan, I think that was a pretty solid second run. Yes, did you have a comment?
No, you just keep doing your thing. So looking at his initiation, nice and close to the wall. Really great job in outside zone 2 in terms of angle. Look at the angle that he's pulling through here. Doesn't look like he could have much more without spinning out. So really great from him in terms of commitment. Look at the smoke. He's on throttle. He's doing what he's supposed to do throughout the course. A couple of little corrections, though. So we're going to have to deduct a point or two here and there for the angle side of things. So look how close he was to the wall there. He got out of outside zone 2 a little bit early, and then he had to reduce angle as he came by there just slightly, but not too bad. So his score is going to be deducted by a few points on angle, so not too bad.
And just to remind everybody, you are the angle judge. That's why you're mentioning that more specifically.
Yes, exactly. So that, I believe, is one of my higher angle scores overall for the course, just because of how strong he was in the beginning, and that is an area at the early, at the onset of the course here where we do have a lot more points to play with. So it gives us the opportunity to really reward that aggressive driving in the areas where it really counts, along the wall and close to outside zone 2.
And look at that, a 1-point improvement. So 2 very high and consistent scores for Benjamin Chiam. He's got to be proud of his performance here today. And we will move on to one of the legends of the sport. And we've already seen run. He's got an 87. He's well into competition. Katsuhiro Ueo. Many of the older fans would be used to him driving the AE86. Converted to the S15 sometime around 2008. And has pretty much been in it for a while.
That is a heavily ventilated hood.
Very much so. Here we go. Katsuhiro Ueo aggressively coming out of the gate. Big initiation right up against the wall. Holy smokes. Makes it look good. Unbelievable approach there. That looked like the speed that would put you into the tire wall. It looks like he is aggressively fighting for that #1 position. Unbelievable. That looked like he was going. He manipulated the speed correctly enough, Ryan, to get into that second outside zone as he's moving around.
Yeah, the only mistake I saw here was coming through outside zone 2 is he had to pull angle out of the car, but was definitely deep into outside zone 2. That initiation was phenomenal, right on the wall, great angle, fun to watch.
Probably the most exciting run that we've seen that was able to pull off outside zone 1 and 2 without those major mistakes. And he still has that midline where he draws a nice smooth arc into inside clip 1 and then follows it up with a snap into inside clip 2. I think this is going to be right up there with the top scores of the afternoon. He's already got the 87. And let's see what all 3 judges think, as Katsuhiro Ueo has got to be very happy with his performance here. And the Team Velino drivers have just really seemed like they've been on point here this weekend. So car number 15 heading back to the hot pits, as the Japanese commentators very excited about the run as well. I have a feeling this is going to go north.
It's a big score because it's taking a long time to calculate it. You know, a big number they got to count.
Crunching.
So, yeah. There you go.
A 95, that is your new leader. And that is a very impressive run by Katsuhiro Ueo, a well-deserved score, 95.
Perfect on style.
Perfect on style, and that would be Andy Yen.
That's
correct.
That's correct.
Andy Yen giving a perfect score on style. You don't often see that too much, but let's not pull our attention too quickly away. The driver on the line is Kazuya Iizuka. He has an incomplete. This is one of the most talked about debuts that we've seen in a while here in FDJ. He pulled out of run number 1 on a mechanical. This is his last and final shot. Here we go. Iizuka into initiation. Pretty good start here so far. He's going to be a little bit short on outside zone 2. Aggressiveness in the run, the one and only V8 in competition. The car looks pretty settled, but he's making a little bit of mistakes on line. You can tell that the car does have the power and the grip to be competitive in the head-to-head matchups, Ryan, but does he do enough here to get into the top 32?
Looks like his car alarm's going off throughout the run, but look at that initiation. Great rate to angle. He gets to a decent amount of angle. What's interesting that Andy Yin pointed out the other day is that the front tires are smoking because the front tires are hitting the headers as they gets to a high degree of angle. So I think that is actually limiting the amount of angle that he can get, and you can see that through a couple of portions of the course where maybe you'd expect more angle from the car. But he did a great job on outside zone 1, off of outside zone 2, unfortunately there, and pretty decent job on the inside clips. Maybe the second one could have been tighter, but definitely on throttle, definitely committed throughout the course.
All right, so his competition weekend is currently in jeopardy. He has an incomplete in run number 1. He's going to probably need a 75 or higher in order to play ball for tomorrow. But a lot of fans rooting for him.
So he's going to lose points on the line portion because of his. He didn't really get to outside zone 2 as he should have. So definitely going to be some deductions there for Iizuka.
All right, so scores starting to drop for Iizuka as we now approach, and it is right at that 75. So not the score that he wanted, and it's going to be a bit of ambiguity as we wait for the official scores. As we mentioned, we came into qualifying with 46 drivers. That dropped to 43 after a few DNFs from practice. We still have one driver, excuse me, that was our last driver with an incomplete. We have a few drivers that are way outside the score line, but drivers like Daisuke Hara, a 69. Ooh. Here it is on his second run. Nearly comes to a stop after a good initiation. Now he's going to go very wide on inside clip number 1. The MJ style driver in the S15 knows that he's got to get a better score than a 69. And Ryan, let's take a look here at the replay for Daisuke Hara.
Love his angle at outside zone 1. If he was going to scrape the wall, it feels like the middle of the bumper would have scraped it there, not the edge. That's how sideways he was. But he did kind of park it a bit in outside zone 2, so the style judge is definitely going to get him on that. Overall, great run, aggressive, just that hesitation in outside zone 2, unfortunately, that's going to hurt him.
All right, so taking a look one more time here, the drone position right above our tower. You get an idea that he had a lot of angle that he started to pull out there in outside zone number 2.
And that's the challenge when you try to do a reverse entry.
Yeah.
Is you have to pull out angle sometimes because the car ends up being on a straighter line going into the zone as opposed to an arc.
Right.
And that's what it looks like happened to him right there. He wasn't able to finish outside zone 2 properly, so that's going to hurt him on the style side and a little bit on line.
It's an 82. It's an improvement, and it is a 13-point improvement. So that gives you an idea of the pressure relief from Daisuke Hara. So he'll be happy with that.
No doubt.
And we will definitely be feeding you the official scores as we get them coming in, though this system works a little bit differently. We don't have the rotating scroll on the FD Japan graphics, but we will definitely get those as soon as they're available. But it currently seems like a 75 is a cutoff point at this moment. Next driver up, Yoshitaka Ogane in the FD3S RX-7. He's got an 81. Drove very aggressively the first time around. Second time around trying to improve on that. And we're starting to see a few more tinges of excitement from these drivers, especially those that know that they're in competition, Ryan.
Yes, it's pretty great to see the progression, and watching Ogane here could be a little bit more precise, but definitely on throttle, committed through the run. Just needs to put the car in better places, let's say, throughout the run. I think that his angle score is going to be a slight improvement over the first run. But you can see here a little bit less angle going to inside clip 1. Pretty good rotation inside clip 2. But overall, great run from him. Just needs to be a little bit more precise.
So Ogane looking to better that 81, as we mentioned, in his RX-7. Scores starting to come in now. The line, angle, and style judge responsible for all the scores here this weekend. We've got Robbie Nishida, Andy Yen, and Ryan Lantain, and it's an 88. So it's going to be a 7-point improvement, and he can go home happy tonight because that is definitely going to get him into the final day tomorrow. So good job there by Yoshitaka Ogane. And this was a driver we expected a bit more out of last run, Ryan. Tadahiro Fukada, a 68. So I think the pressure is on for him to do better here in his second run. Here we go. Fukada aggressively looking to initiate, but he slow rolls it, and it's a huge e-brake pull as well. The line looks pretty good, however. He's going to go a bit wide on that first inside clip. He's going to have to take a tighter line to bring it back around to that inside clip. So it may have been a marked improvement here, Ryan, but still a couple little mistakes that I think you could pick at.
Yeah, you're right. On initiation, did a pretty good job not bad angle through there, but that big e-brake pull, trying to drag the car out. He's not really using his momentum to fill that outside zone. Maybe the car is a little bit too gripped up, and he's not able to throw it as far, let's say, as he'd like to. But overall, throughout the run, pretty smooth. I think it's going to give him a pretty big jump from run 1. I definitely am giving him more points on angle. So let's see what happens here once we get the full score in.
Final shot selection here above the track here at Suzuka Twin with the drone as the final score starting to come in. We have just now entered the top 10 drivers. The final 10 here on our first day of competition. Andrew Gray heading out on the track right now was dethroned as the #1 qualifier, and it's an 83. So
wow,
that will be
huge jump.
A very solid improvement for him. As we said, Andrew Gray was leading the competition with a 93. He was pulled away from that by Katsuhiro Ueo in a 95. And we will now move on to Hayato Miyoshi. Let's really watch the initiation here. He seems to be willing to take some pretty sizable risks on initiation, getting into outside zone #1. And he was really fun to watch in competition last year. Looks like one of the officials coming over to talk to Ryan. And not sure what that was about.
That's my poor math.
Oh, all right. They got you.
They got me.
And it looks like we have been given the green light to send Miyoshi. And he sits on the line. He is on good rides. So very diverse tire pool here this weekend. And I assume that that is going to continue throughout the year.
One would hope.
As we ramp things up, head to Ebisu North Circuit.
Yes, that's going to be a good one.
In just a month. We need to book. Did you already book your ticket?
Yeah, well, coming in, yes. Oh, I haven't booked my departing yet, but I'll figure that out.
Here we go. Miyoshi snaps it. Ooh. And he's back on throttle pretty early. Really moving around in the car, but he's going to make it work. Hits that inside clip, snaps it back around. Big angle there, and a final push for him through the finish line. And he got right to that edge, Ryan. It looked like he was in trouble there, but he actually pulled it off. Let's take a look here at this second run.
He certainly did. He did a great job on that initiation. Got really out wide. He's one that gets wide early on outside zone 2. So you can see there that he's right on the line. Tends to leave it a little bit earlier though. Great job on angle through the last inside clip. As you can see, that transition was phenomenal right there. So overall, a pretty great run.
Well, he's got one good score in the book at an 89. And it looks like he is going to get very close to that, if not better, on this next run. Pushing hard here is Hayato Miyoshi. Our 7th ranked driver so far, or coming from the 2018 championship. A strong performance, got into the top 10 last year. It's an 84, so
not as high as his first one.
The first run is going to be the better of the two. And the youngster, Kanta Yanaguida, a solid score of an 83 on run #1. The Top Tool Racing Valino S13 sits at the line.
And of course, I haven't booked my flight out of Ebisu yet because I'm trying to stay there longer as much as possible, you know, because it is drift heaven after all.
You gonna do some drifting?
I hope so, yeah.
All right. Yanaguida snaps it. Nice job there. Floats it out, and really good timing on that second outside zone. You get to see why people talk so much about this kid. Snap back around while on throttle, and just seems like he is fully in control right there. I have to think that that is going to better the 83. But Ryan, walk us through here this second run by car number 57.
He put it all together on that run. Look at that initiation. Great flick, beautiful angle through there. The line is fantastic. He might have left slightly early off outside zone 2 on throttle through this whole course. That transition right there is exactly what we're looking for. If everybody could do that transition all the time on every transition they do, we would be happy. Look at that angle. He's pretty much sideways, fully 90 degrees to the wall. Great commitment through the entire run. Just off that inside clip too a little bit thanks to the drone. We can see that. But overall, what a phenomenal run. Great job from our young Yanaguida.
So Yanaguida continuing to impress here. He made a visit out to the States last year, visited us at Irwindale with a big crew, and he is very serious about his drifting career. And there is one of his main sponsors, Top Tools, sitting on the sidelines, really wanting to see this kid succeed. And he's got to be happy with this run. It's going to be an improvement on the 83. I think the question is, how high is it going to go?
I think it's going to be pretty high, Ryan.
And a 96, it is so high that it becomes the #1 qualifier, and that is a first for him. He has got to be extremely excited, and we don't see scores of a 96 in FD Japan very often. Very impressive run, and it looks like, Ryan, for you, he only missed 2 points and another perfect on the style judge from Andy Yen.
Beautiful job there. You just had a little bit of a bobble coming into outside zone 2, so really overall couldn't have improved much there from a 96. You can't really cut that apart too much, but the important thing that we want to see from him now is the consistency. Is he going to be able to do that all through however far he makes it tomorrow in competition? Clearly 96 is going to qualify him pretty highly, so we want to see him bring that type of energy, that type of precision into competition tomorrow. And that's where the true champions are built, right? If they can do that in qualifying, it's one thing, but you have to be able to do it consistently throughout the weekend against some very skilled drivers. And sometimes when you have somebody pushing you from behind, giving you a lot of pressure, it's hard to do that. And it's also hard to try to do that type of drive in the chase position as well.
Well, that's the story, really, of Wataru Masuyama, who has been basically our #1 qualifier every event in 2018, but it hasn't turned out to be something strong that he can take into head-to-head competition. But now he kind of turns the dial up. He did not have the run that he wanted in run #1. He is one of those few guys that can do that near backwards entry but maintain the momentum, Ryan. And so take us through this second run here by Masuyama.
Amazing initiation. You can see just a little bit of a correction there in the steering and the front wheels. A little bit of a bobble there at inside clip 1. That transition was phenomenal. Great stability through the last corner as well. Really good run from him overall. I think he missed outside zone 2 slightly, but just look at this initiation. Great rate to angle. Gets back on throttle when he should. You can see he left outside zone 2 a little bit early.
And if you watch the wheels, they never stop spinning, and they never stopped for a second. Even with the white wheels, you could really tell whether or not he was using e-brake or really getting off throttle. And that, I think, is a rarity from what we've seen in the field.
Yeah, beautiful run from him.
So Kanta Yanaguida lays down a big run, and Wataru Masuyama comes back with something else. So a back and forth tit-for-tat battle here as the top 5 drivers are eyeing up that #1 qualification. Masuyama, who had pretty much dominated qualifying last year, has not, as we said, translated that to the head-to-head matchups, but he is looking to do that this year, and it's a 95. So Andy Yen has given out 3 perfect style scores so far this round. He is really liking what he's seeing from these drivers. They're being consistent with what's being said in the drivers' meeting, and they're
being rewarded for it.
They're being rewarded for it, right? This is what I want you to do. You do it, you get a reward.
Exactly.
What was that, a 95?
That was a 95, right?
All right, so now we're seeing those 90s.
We only have 4 drivers left. Yamashita, Nian, Andy Gray, and Manoa.
Yamashita coming down in the JZX100 Mark II. Here it is. He initiates. He's right at the edge of outside zone #1. It's not going to be the #1 qualification. You can already tell from those first and second outer zones, but because he does have a 79 on his first run, he does have some headroom here to improve. I think he will do that. But Ryan, let's take a look here and see how he did on the initiation and outside zone 1 and 2.
Well, unfortunately for him, he's following up 2 phenomenal initiations. So you're going to see that not a bad initiation, just not a great one. Did us an okay job in outside zone 2. Gets through inside clip 1. Look at the angle that he's maintaining through there. The transition was really solid there. These are big cars. They don't always look like they're moving as quickly as the smaller ones, but I think he did a great job throughout this run. Could have been a little bit more snappy, let's say, but overall, great run from him.
All right, so seeing a good number of drivers really step up their performance.
Yeah, clearly he's going to get a better score than 79 on this run. It was smooth. Everything was great. Just could have been more explosive, more snappy, more aggressive on the initiation. That's really the only place where it was lacking, I think.
Waiting for the scores to drop here as Yamashita, top 5 driver, will head back to the hot pits. It's a 90. It's a big jump for him. 11 points. Does the job that he wanted.
Now the next driver, Nian, if anybody can throw a JZX around the way that those boys just threw around their S15s, it's Nian in his JZX. So this is one to watch right now. If he can throw the car as aggressively and be as precise as he was earlier, should be able to give him a pretty good score.
All right, so Shang Nian, the 4th place finisher in the championship. He's got an 82 on run number 1. Very aggressive, deep into the, oh boy, oh no! Saves it very close to the tire wall, but Shang never one to back down from a challenge from other drivers. He finds himself in a very hairy position there for a second, but is able to pull out of it. Now we have to remember he's got an 82, so I think he knows that he's okay from a top 32 perspective, but trying to move up the ladder. Ryan, what happened here on run number 2?
Well, he threw it in just kind of like we expected him to. It's just that he went a little bit wide on outside zone 2, and you could see that he had to pull a little bit of angle out, so he's going to lose some points there. Comparatively, you know, if you compare it to the other drivers that threw it in as aggressively, they were more precise, and that's what I was saying a minute ago is it's hard to do what these guys are doing and get right on the line and not overshoot.
Right.
But unfortunately he did, and there's a bit of a bump there, and it seems to have unsettled the car a little bit. Inside clip 1 and 2 were really solid, but it's just that earlier part of the track there that's going to hurt him score-wise, especially I think on the style side of things. It might hit him a little bit harder. But, you know, angle-wise, he had a, what did I give him, a 27.
90. A 90 is what he comes back with, and that is a very quality score for him. We're seeing a nice dose of excitement here, which is not something that we often talk about in qualifying. It really becomes about setting up for the main show tomorrow, but seeing some really good runs here and drivers pushing the limits. And so great job by Shang Yin. Car 54 will be done for the day. And here was our number 1 qualifier, Andrew Gray, first run of a 93. Looking to back that up, and he's also going to push deep into that second outside zone. And while he didn't have the snappiest rate to angle initiation, the transitions from him and the precision and the aggression are really up there. I think he will back up his 93 and then some potentially. But Ryan, let's hear it from you as the angle judge.
Yeah, looking at that initiation, like you said, not as snappy as the other ones, but definitely a solid initiation. Great job through the outside zones. Not a whole lot to look bad at here. On throttle, committed through the whole run. The aerial shot is the one that usually points out any flaws. Look at that, the way that the car is settled. He's not correcting any of the angle. Getting to the clips, getting to the zones. He only left outside zone 2 a little bit early, I'd say, if you really wanted to dissect this run. I think the only thing that will be deducted is really the style portion for the initiation if you compare it to how snappy the other ones were.
All right, so Andrew Gray awaits his second score as we will have one final competitor who's currently sitting at the line. He is the last driver of the day to try and take away the big number that Kanta Yanaguita dropped just 4 runs ago. And unless Andrew Gray goes a 96 or higher, he will be the final competitor to challenge for that #1 spot.
If his spotter is doing his job, he's listening to the stream, he's listening to us. He knows what it is that Andy needs to do to try to beat those other drivers. You can see that Andy drove harder in this lap than he did previously, so there you go.
And he gets it. He gets it, and once again, another perfect from the style judge. And Ryan, this time around, it was the angle judge, you, that made a little bit of the difference here.
I did, yeah. I put, it was only on inside clip 1 where I saw slightly less angle than I would have liked to have seen. And then Rob, you must have seen something on the line portion of things where he took 2 points off as well.
So we do see a changing of the guard, however so slightly, from a 96 to a 97.
There you go, the fist pump in the car.
Yanaguita will step down to the 2nd place spot unless something can happen right here with our last driver. He is the driver that finished 2nd in the championship next to Mad Mike Wadet. He is Heyman, JZX90 Mark II, Shinji Minowa.
This looks exactly like his competition car from last year, but it's a brand new chassis for him, so I'm sure there's a bit of a learning curve with the new chassis despite being the same car.
And aggressively comes into it right at the edge of outside zone 1. E-brake pull. This will not be your #1 qualification. Already enough, even though it's an aggressive, strong run, already enough of a mistake on outside zone 2 to not do that. So it's going to be Andrew Gray that holds it, but let's take a look at this replay as we wrap up qualifying here, Ryan. Shinji Minowa, our final driver.
Yeah, you can see nice initiation there, great rate to angle. He missed outside zone 2, and that's going to be a huge deduction, especially at the level that they're playing at here, him being the #1, let's say, finisher from last season that's qualifying at the moment. So being the last qualifier here means that he was the highest ranked from last season, and there's definitely going to be deduction more than what you would have seen from the other drivers at this level.
Well, no question that this field has come to impress us, and we are seeing some of the highest scores that we've seen from these top 10 drivers, and some new drivers, some new faces that have made it into this 46 car field that turned into 43, that's being whittled down to 32 as the scores become official. Andrew Gray, very excited about his performance. Kanta Yanaguita, the young man now, looking to make a strong 2019 start to this FD Japan Championship. And of course, many other drivers, including Kazuya Iizuka in the Audi A5 wide body, looking to make a name for themselves tomorrow as we head into top 32 competition. It's an 81. Hello.
So you can see there with that 81. Yeah, you can see there that 81 that Minowa was given was due to missing outside zone 2 the way that he did. But you can always fix that tomorrow in competition, you know, get a little bit deeper. They do have another practice session tomorrow, so hopefully they can clean up that little mistake there and get a little bit better for competition.
All right, so as we wrap things up here, and our ears got blown out by whatever satanic thing that just was. That was a big surprise.
That was.
A great day of competition, Ryan, wrapping things up as we head into tomorrow. Looks like the weather is going to hold. We've got a great field of 32 drivers. We will have the official results a little bit later. And any comments from you about the start of the 2019 season and the field that we've seen so far?
Well, we were talking earlier about the fact that we don't generally see the high scores jammed up kind of the way that we do in the U.S., but look at this, 97, 93, 90, 96. We've got a lot of 90s right now. This is, I think it's indicative of how great the drivers are getting all around the world. People are stepping their games up everywhere. You know, the better drivers are bringing up the newer drivers, and we're ending up with some really tight competition. So it's really great to see, and it's going to make our jobs a lot harder, but it's going to make the show so much better tomorrow.
All right, well, that does it for us here at round one of the G-Shock Presents Formula Drift Japan Championship. We kick things off tomorrow, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time if you're watching from the U.S. That's 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to catch the action in Japanese, you can go to the formulad.jp website, and there's a lot of in English information there and also in Japanese. For Ryan Lantane, I am Ryan Sage. We'll see you tomorrow as we head into the top 32.
実証雨に強いタイヤ横浜は濡れた路面であなたの想像以上に止まる止まる止まる日本最高グレードのウェット性能 A をあなたの車に雨に強いタイヤといえば横浜